Can I find it? Haha!
That's why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
And really, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom. So we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome to our special Warhammer 40K Whiskey Wednesday. My name is Will Stevens, and I'll be your host for tonight. I'm joined tonight by three fantastic and beautiful, amazing degenerates. We've got Brendan, the Anonymous Bean. We've got my good friend, Mr. Josh, Slide 180. And we've also got Mr. Zenith. For those of you guys who don't know who these guys are, Brendan is the macroeconomics specialist over here on the DGen Roundtable. Josh is my good friend from the Marine Corps. And then Zenith is the DGen Roundtable's government and legal analyst. And I'm just some random-ass iron worker who travels around the world and who travels around and talks shit to crypto bros and stuff like that. So, gentlemen, welcome to the show tonight. What is new and exciting with you, Mr. Brendan? It's good to see you, broski. Welcome, welcome.
Good to see you. Glad that I am back. I was away this past weekend at a wedding. It was a good time. I was the best man and had to give a speech. And I wrote the speech about 5 minutes before I had to give said speech. Went great.
Classic.
And, it's in my head, but I wanted to kind of put it on paper, just because when you're up there, things can get a little bit weird. So I got this as one of the little gifts they gave me. And, funny story, you're not allowed to bring liquid on an airplane, but this is full. And I accidentally brought it on the airplane.
Excellent. That's a full fucking, that is a flask, right?
I don't know. Let me test it and I'll tell you.
Oh, we better find out.
Oh yeah. That's whiskey. Irish whiskey, I think.
That's awesome, bro. I hope you made your homie look good as the best man. That's fucking awesome, man. Glad to hear.
I didn't go, I've given a lot of best man speeches, as in like, I don't know, a lot, but 4 or 5. Definitely have gone less like making fun of them as I've gotten older. More few jokes and more just, niceties and throwback stories that are kind of fun to listen to. So
hell yeah. I like it.
Glad to be back.
Good to have you, broski. Mr. Josh, Mr. Slide 180, welcome to the stream. I see you've got a beautifully delicious big beer there, bro. What's new and exciting with you?
Oh, man, just working, do the usual stuff, not crazy. I had to do a brake job on a 2011 BMW 555i earlier today before I left.
Yeah.
So I was covered in blackness and stuff. You know the orange Gojo stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there I was in the shower. Head to toe in Gojo, washing myself off. So that's how my day went.
That's excellent,
At least
bro.
it smells good, nice and citrusy.
Yeah, at least it doesn't smell like brake dust.
Yep.
Cheers.
Oh man.
I got
cheers to that.
I got one little gluten-free beer.
Oh yeah. What are we drinking tonight, fellas? Brendan, tell us real quick, what is that you got there?
This is it's called Red Bridge. It's the original gluten-free beer. It is owned by Anheuser-Busch, who's owned by somebody else, and you know how that goes. So.
Excellent. Mr. Josh, what are you drinking, broski?
I'm probably drinking what Zenith has, the Silver Bullet. I guess there's Coors Light today.
Hell yeah.
boy.
Speaking of Zenith, we are joined by Zenith. Zenith, broski, what's new and exciting with you?
So it's a bit of a running joke that I have with the guys on the team, which is that I can always tell when Will runs a show by himself because I'll get a Google notification that monetized music was played, therefore monetization has been turned off on our screen. I host one episode by myself and use a clip from South Park, which is directly relevant to 2 story articles, and we don't get demonetized. The entire video got blocked.
Dude,
Oh,
totally.
man.
They're like, look, there's no strikes against your channel. It's like it never happened.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I thought
thank you, Paramount Pictures, for just absolutely pee slapping us into the shadow realm. But I fixed it. I edited it, so it should be out. You should be able to catch the video. But yes, that is what I've been up to.
I thought that was
I was
so
wondering what happened to that.
That was so fucking
man.
funny, man. When you sent that into the into like the leadership production chat, and it was like, yeah, we got, or no, it was Cass.
Yeah.
Cass sent it in. She's like, what did you do? Why did we get blocked? Like, what's the hell's going? Like, normally we get like a strike, or we get like a little hey, don't do that. Wham, you know, like this specific episode doesn't get any money. But no, I was like, nah, bro, you're totally blocked. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Fucking slap their dick on the table. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
that
hilarious,
was,
man.
Was not expecting that one. And I will say, I still do believe I did nothing wrong, and everything I did was covered by the fair use. But who am I to argue with a multi-billion-dollar company who owns things? And God, how dare I? How dare I?
There's a great lesson in that he who has the gold makes the rules, which is the golden rule. And Paramount Pictures has quite a bit of gold. So, oh, that's great. Oh, you know what I just realized? Because we're all logged into the producer, we're all going to be chatting as the DGen Roundtable inside of StreamYard. So that's, you guys at home get to guess if it's me, if it's Brendan, or if it's Zenith typing out these messages here. So that's my favorite. As for me, what I'm drinking a delicious Ozarka Proudly Texan spring water. And I'm smoking me some Marlboros because I got these while I was hanging out with Johnny Chaos over in the casino. So it was a good time. They didn't have any cigars, and so I was like, well, I can smoke cigarettes like a cigar. That wouldn't hurt. So I got some schmigarettes, and I think like it was cost like $10 for a pack of smoke. So life is getting
$10.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts, man. I mean, it's also, you know, casino's going to upcharge you, which is fine, but it was great and it was awesome. So I freaking love it. Let's speaking of things that we love the people that are so cool and awesome as to join us on this wonderful Whiskey Wednesday today. So I got let's see here. I got some fantastic chat shout outs for the folks at home. We're going to shout you guys out. Oh my God, Josh has got one. Hell yeah, broski. Fucking, that's great. Yo, I got to arm everybody on the show with some of these chat shout out stickers. Zenith, do you have any by any chance? Did I send you some? Oh my God, I got to send you some.
No,
Brendan,
sir.
I think did I leave any stickers with you when I was over there, or did I forget to do that too?
No, I've been promised many a sticker. I've gotten none.
Oh, fuck. I got to fix myself. All right. So I'm going to write that in Telegram.
Will,
or actually, what's up?
What is Zenith drinking? Zenith, I didn't see
Zenith, what are you drinking?
We have a hodgepodge. Yes, I do have the Silver Bullet. That was the post-work beer, the pre-stream beer. I just poured myself a glass of Woodford Reserve, but that thing's almost dead. So as backup, we also have some Glenfiddich 14-year.
Ooh, yummy.
Excellent.
Nice little mixture there.
Yeah,
That's
and then we also got a leftovers from the golf course. This is a Surfside peach tea and vodka as well. So
I like those. As long as I'm not looking for bubbles, they go down nice.
Yeah. Like you said, if you're looking for something that's kind of like a White Claw without the carbonation, the High Noons, they have a line of teas and like tea and lemonade things. Those are very good. I like the Surfsides better. I think they taste even better. They have a little more oomph. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Know what I'm saying? I do.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Well, anyways, gentlemen, it's time for chat motherfucking shoutouts. Folks in the audience, tell us what you guys are drinking if you happen to be sipping or smoking on anything special. We're joined tonight by the fantastic Mr. Frank White, who says, bang, bang, DGen gang. Shout out to Frank White. Frank does the plstart.me, the fantastic, awesome
Great stuff.
Link tree for Pulse Chain. So we love to see it. Good to see you, Frank. Welcome to the show. We've also got Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics, who says, raise a glass and kick some ass this wild whiskey Wednesday, followed by some rock on devil horns there. Most excellent. And also he reminds us that he's winged his best man speech at a best friend's wedding, 5 minutes, and he had a standing ovation from 150 people. That is absolutely awesome. I love it. We love the standing ovations, especially as a best man. Your job is to be the best man. So don't be the mediocre man. Get that standing ovation. Do that awesome good stuff. Love to see it, broski. Oh, and apparently we have another book club recommendation from Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. That is, he now has another recommendation. Okay, fantastic. I wonder what this is going to be. I guess we'll have to go check it out. By the way, guys, if you want to go join book club, go to t.me/DGen book club, and you can.
No worries, Moonpilled. I will ensure that a book gets chosen because I'm often the one choosing the books.
That is absolutely right. Brendan is the one who tells us what we're allowed to do and not allowed to do on the book club. We're also joined by Tam Tam, who says, hello, my lovelies. Hello, Tam Tam. Good to see you. I was in Tam Tam's X Spaces last night, and there was a whole bunch of people asking some great questions, a lot of good answers, a lot of good conversation going on. If you guys are new to Pulse Chain, then go visit Tam's Space over on X. She runs them every Tuesday from 6 o'clock Central Time to 8 o'clock Central Time, PM, I should say.
I'd like to add, with all the infighting going on in the Hex and Pulse Chain communities, Tam Tam is always a bright light of positivity and bringing people together. So always appreciate the work that she's doing out there, always positive, always teaching good lessons, and always leading by example.
Absolutely. Yep. And she was mentioning, she gave a shout out to Giga over on Twitter earlier, where Giga had basically said, he gave a really great point in Tam's X Space, where he started talking about encouraging other people that, like, if people start being negative, or if people start, trying to derail things or turn conversations in a shitty direction, then just kind of like stop hanging out with them, stop giving them the time of day and doing all that sorts of stuff. So absolutely right. Tam Tam is a beacon of positivity in the Pulse Chain space. We're also joined by Mr. Russ, who says, cheers. Cheers to you too, Obigo. Glad that we could have you with us tonight. It's been a while since we've had Russ in the comments. Good to see you, broski. As I recall, I might be thinking of a different Russ, but Russ, I think, had the dog profile picture. So Russ, if that's you, let us know, broski. Also, guys, let us know. Make sure you let us know what you are drinking tonight. We're also joined by Mr. Paul Sachs himself. I'm new here. Can anyone show me where the check-in desk is at? Abso-fucking-lutely. Good to see you, Paul. Welcome. You better be reporting in your alphas there, good sir. And we're gonna have you go see the OOD. So, shout out to Paul Sachs. I can't remember, Paul. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were in the Navy. Oh man, it's been a while since I've had this convo with you. But shout out to Paul Sachs, super cool, awesome guy. Named himself after the PulseX crypto exchange on Pulse Chain. So we freaking love it. Oh, and apparently Moonpill wanted to let us know that the book helped him with the speech. So that's fantastic. I might actually. It's good to be a Toastmaster. It's good to be able to raise a glass and say some fancy things to people. So excellent.
Will, speaking of Toastmasters, did you know that's a public speaking course that you can take as well?
Oh,
it's literally called Toastmasters. I took it when I was growing up. My mom made me do it when I was homeschooled.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
But it's pretty cool. It's teaches you how to write talks, teaches you how to give talks in front of people. It's if anyone's really looking for that skill, Toastmasters is a good place to start.
Okay, that's good. Oh, and we've been reminded by Mr. Russ that he thinks that YouTube Shop is showing the channel. It is the same one. Excellent. Good to see you, Russ. That's awesome. Oh, and apparently he was not in the Navy. Well, there we go. Everyone's whiskey tonight. So what's everyone's whiskey tonight? So Mr. Zenith has, remind me again, Zenith and Brendan, you got a whiskey as well? Oh, Woodford Reserve for Zenith.
Yes,
good choice. And then Brendan's got a mystery juice.
Yeah, I don't actually know what's in here. I got this for being the best man at a wedding this weekend. And even though you're not supposed to take this on a plane full, it was full. And yes, I took it on the plane. They did not yell at me. They let me take it. So I think it's some sort of Irish whiskey. but I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the flavor, so.
They can't stop the Brendan. That's fucking awesome. Well, cool beans. Well, excellent, excellent. And then I'm drinking water, and then Mr. Josh over there is having some delicious silver bullets, right? You ain't got nothing else mixed in there, do you, Josh?
No. I wish. I mean, if there was whiskey in here, that'd be kind of weird. I guess that's a thing,
weird.
but nah, not for me.
Yeah,
Would
but
be like
show that big glass you got going.
Oh, that big.
A liter Stein. At least.
They do the Stein holding competitions where you have to hold it like this for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
I thought about competing, but I was too drunk, so I was like, nah, I'm good.
It's really
that would have been. Well, that reminds me. When you were in boot camp, Josh, did they make you hold the guns out by the thing from the very end? And Zenith, did you have to do that at all when you were?
Yeah. Oh man, I think I remember the one that got me where they take your pinky and your thumb and you hold your towel like that, and then they'll get mad at you because your arms will get tired, so your arms start dropping. And they're like, "It weighs 2 fucking ounces. It's not heavy. Why are you dropping it?" And you're just like,
I remember Clamshell grabbing the rifle and having to hold that out by the front sight post at an arm's length for a long extended period of time. Z, what did they get you for? Did you so for officers, you guys have to do OCS and boot camp, right?
No, but for us, OCS was literally in the same building, and the area that I was in for my company, OCS was literally like on the other side of a set of double doors from where we lived, and you could like see them. And OCS was run by actual like drill instructors and stuff that were there for it. Meanwhile, our basic training was run by cadets that were becoming juniors. So you're supposed to like learn how to like lead people, but at the same time, they're still trying to put you through the full boot camp thing. And then as preparation for that, they bring in the real boot camp instructors and put you through boot camp as a junior to learn how to do it again to other people. But yeah,
that's interesting.
There's various stuff, holding out the rifles, holding out the blue book, reading the one section on what is discipline until your arms go tired and you can't talk anymore. But yeah, it sounds dumb, which is like I'm holding out a book or I'm holding out a towel for like 5 minutes at a time. And it's like, why is this so hard? Well, A, they're making you yell at the top of your lungs the whole time as well. But also just hold out your arm for 5 minutes in general. You get tired.
Yeah. My favorite part of the holding out the towel thing is, by the way, the only thing you're wearing is a smile and some fucking shower shoes. So you're butt ass naked, by the way. You're not wearing clothes. Like your towel that's wrapped around you, you're holding on like this. So yeah, it's a very awkward gay experience.
Yeah,
it is an awkward,
slightly different experience than I did.
Man,
but all right.
I could reminisce on all the gay stuff that we did at boot camp, but like, wow, that sentence came out really great, didn't it? There's all sorts of crazy stuff that happens in boot camp, and man, I wonder what like the hazing is going to be. I got a buddy right now over in Ohio who's about to go to Army National Guard boot camp here in a couple days, so I'll be quite curious to. I was telling him to just enjoy the experience and just remember the whole thing is a big giant compliance game, and if you go through it with a smile and have fun, then you'll get picked on a lot and it'll make for some great memories. So that was the best advice I could give him. Also, thank you for pulling that up. We've got some folks that are drinking tonight. We got Moon-Pilled Rational Optics, who's drinking rum, apparently, and apparently that's a good choice, broski. We've also got Mr. Russ over here who has mixed some Screwball with an excellent maple cask rye. I don't know what those are, but those.
I will explain this to you because this sounds very, very interesting to me. So Screwball is a peanut butter whiskey, and it's dangerous because it literally just tastes like peanut butter. But it's a whiskey. And then if you mix that with a maple cask rye, you're kicking it up a notch with the whiskey flavor. You're adding a little bit of a maple tinge. Now you got a maple peanut butter whiskey. I don't know. That sounds pretty good to me.
It sounds like a good day at Waffle House is what that sounds like.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
I gotta get that. I gotta get one of those for my Canadian friend. She would love that.
That's crazy good. And then we've got Paul Sachs over here. Nice Woodford Z. Good old college silver liquid, Josh. An interesting drink for Brendan. But it looks like Mr. Paul Sachs has got some Rot Gut Rusty's old 73 Missouri whiskey here. I don't know what that is, but that sound, if it's Rot Gut, then it's probably some strong and crazy shit. I like it.
I think
outstanding.
Really, really low quality, like bottom of the barrel.
Excellent.
Gonna burn through your stomach type whiskey. Made in a bathtub next door by your neighbor.
Man, I remember
Similar
like
for me.
when I turned 21, I bought a bottle of Grand Marnier and a bottle of Vladimir bottom shelf vodka, like $7 $7 fifth, and I was just like, oh, what is this? The Grand Marnier. I bought them because the bottles looked cool. The Vladimir one had like a Russian guy on the front of it, and then the Grand Marnier bottle, it was like fancy looking. So I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I'm gonna get that thing. And yeah, it was not a very good drinking experience. Fucking downing those two crazy things. So, well, excellent. So for the show tonight, some of the stuff that I want to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about some Warhammer at some point, but Josh and Zenith, you guys have never been on stream together before, and you guys are both familiar and like enjoy the same type of cars and things. So I wanted to open the discussion up and poke a little fun at Zenith because he mentioned it in the green room about how his project car is all gone and things like that. So is the car that you guys both like, is that the drifting car or is that a racing car?
Yes. I guess I'll go first. Yeah,
Miata is always the answer.
It is. It is the acronym. Miata stands for Miata is always the answer. So, what is the Mazda Miata? Well, originally built back in 1992. I believe it was the design philosophy was called Jinbai Tai, which is rider on horse. And Mazda just wanted to create a little two-seat roadster to make you feel very connected, very like in tune with the machine and the road. And it's a very good driving experience. And I would say it shows as much because they still make it to this day. So what I have is called a first generation Miata, or an NA. The generations go NA and B and C and D. And the NA it's very small. I'm only like a hair over 5'10", and I'm still pretty cramped in there myself. But overall, it's a very fun car. Notably, it's not a very powerful car. I believe the NA is rated at like 110, 115 horsepower out of the factory. So over the course of 30 years, you can imagine that you might get a little bit less out of it. Also, depending on how molested the car is, if you say. But outside of that, it's just a manual rear-wheel drive, no power steering, no airbags, no AC, just a fun car. And people have done all kinds of things with these things. They are very popular for...
Whoa. Mine had power steering and AC. Mine was in 1992.
You got a Gucci one then. I got the broke boy version. But the reason that people like these things so much is they're a lot of fun. You don't have to like go 180 miles an hour to have a blast. They rule autocross. They're pretty good at drifting. Spec racing is an entire series based around the Miata platform. They also make great show cars, project cars. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. And the fact that they've been so widely supported by the aftermarket for so many years means that stuff is like dirt cheap, thanks to Miata, and then also just the abundance of stuff out there. And then also the amount of things that people have done with it. Just the knowledge in the user base of people that have just wrenched on these things for 30 plus years is fantastic. So it's hard not to like the thing.
Yeah, I would say easy to work on, but a lot of people don't think is this a small chassis. So small chassis and everything is crammed in it, so that means tight spaces. I had to figure that out firsthand. So I took mine to the track and it was a drift car, like welded differential, cut knuckles, coilovers, no power mods or stock power. So every time you go, clutch kick, mat it to the ground, clutch kick. We're going, baby. And I broke my transmission. And it sucks because the differential has a power brace going to it. So the diff to the trans has that power brace. So inconvenient. Then the back of the transmission has like little bolts right there where like the motor's at. Good luck. That took me like an hour just trying to get all that stuff unbolted. Not fun.
Yeah, look, is it compact? Is it tight? Is it still one of the easier cars to work on? The answer is absolutely. I mean, it's very simple. And at the same time, again, parts availability. They made a million of these things, so you can pick up parts from the junkyard, any local shop that's disassembled them. You can get stuff real easy.
By the way, I don't know anything about
my gold clutch kick was like $200.
Brandon, what was that?
I was just saying, I don't know about working on them, but they're good looking cars. Like they're sleek, and especially for the the years that they were built. Maybe pull one up. Maybe pull a picture of one up for the people who don't know. Mazda Miata, but it's I don't know. They're all it's always just like one of those cars that I don't think anyone would ever hate. think everyone likes the look of them.
Let me grab.
And
I mean,
I'm
you can
not
go
a
on my
car
Instagram. I got plenty of them. I got plenty of pictures of it, especially drifting. My favorite one is me. I'm drifting, going sideways like this. I got the finger going out like that.
All right, let's see what we got here. Oh wow, these look pretty
You gotta
new.
find it. Yeah, find it in a Miata. Those are my favorite. Little pop up
NA
and down
Miata?
headlights. Pop up and down headlights.
NA Mazda Miata. Oh, the little winking feller.
It's just a happy little car.
So now these all have the convertible on it. I presume that's not like a normal. That is a sleek looking car. That is a pretty
Most of them
looking
are convertibles. If you want to get a hard top, you're probably going to pay the same price for buying the actual car. But the hard
Oh,
tops
yeah?
are probably about 2,000, 3,000, sometimes maybe up.
Yeah, so these are just little two-seaters. I didn't know that. That's a pretty cool little car. Fucking beautiful.
So the stock engine that comes in the NA Miata is a little 4-cylinder, but people have swapped all kinds of things into these cars. I think it's not, I'm going to call it the most popular because it's not the easiest to do, but a lot of people want to stick an LS engine from good old Chevrolet in there. And it's decently easy-ish to do, especially now that there's a lot of part support to it. There are people that make entire conversion kits to allow you to swap those into the vehicle. So going from a 100 horsepower Miata to all of a sudden making like 350 plus, it can transform it pretty good and make it do all kinds of crazy stuff. Mostly just burnouts though.
Well, it sucks once you put power to the Miata because you got to think of the wheels. You can only fit, 15-inch wheels on it? So you're kind of limited on your wheel options. That's one of the downsides.
That's true. That is one of the big downsides of the platform is the wheels. Just the size of the wheel wells restricts it, but also the bolt pattern and then just the overall size of the vehicle. So there's a lot of other aftermarket support when it comes to wheels for plenty of other platforms out there, like the BMW E36 or like a Nissan 350Z or something like that. Those can take a lot more wheels, but just due to the size, you're very, very limited on what you can actually stick in there for the Miata.
How'd you guys get into cars? Where did that come from? So Josh, I know that you've been into this stuff since as long as I've known you in our Marine Corps.
Tokyo
days.
Drift.
It was Tokyo Drift?
Yeah, I watched Tokyo. My mom took me to the movie theaters to go see Tokyo Drift, and I was ruined ever since.
Oh, fuck.
That is an excellent answer. Tokyo Drift is, gosh, as a teenager, that was one of my favorite movies as well. But how I got into like wrenching on cars, hubris. I had an engineering officer on my first ship, and I was having an issue with my truck at the time. I had a Nissan Frontier, and he was like, "Well, you're an engineer. Why can't you figure it out?" And I was like,
No, you're right.
So yeah, so I was like, all right, let's go justify this engineering degree allegedly. So then that's when I messed around with my truck a little bit, but I'm like, all right, daily driver, I need this to be reliable. I'm just going to take it to professionals. But the old COVID thing happened, and I was like, well, let's get a project. So I got a project car, and we started wrenching on it. We did everything from just basic maintenance to eventually I shredded the rear differential. There's kind of like a ball gear that goes to the differential. I shredded the ball gear where half of the gears were just stripped off, and I had a nice chunky soup in my differential oil, and I pulled it out. It's just like, that's not supposed to be there. But then I also had a little bit of transmissions troubles. So I just drove down to Seattle one day, found a place that had a bunch of spare parts. I was like, hi, I needed a transmission for this kind of Miata. And they're like, sure, we have 12. Which one do you want? I was like, whatever. This one has decent miles and it looks like it's in good condition and it's cheap enough. I think I paid like $300 for a whole new transmission. That
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then I swapped the thing in my driveway by myself. And did it take time? Did I hit my knuckle on anything and everything under the car? Did we get there eventually? Yes. The answer is all yes, but like it worked out.
What got me
definitely.
cars,
I just swapped my transmission. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say a bad joke. The doors usually what gets me into the car.
I got my transmission out of 1992, and I brought to break the transmission. It permanently stuck in second gear when I was at Bloomsburg Drift on the track. So I ended up swapping it out with a 2001 transmission from an NB. Actually, it bolts right up, and it's a stronger transmission. The only downside is it has electronic, like a speedo thing. So all you do is just rip that sucker out and put it in your mechanical one and call it a day, and it works just fine on the dash. Pro tip.
Oh yeah. Gosh, once you start wrenching on cars, you go down an entire rabbit hole because it's not like you can just replace exactly the same part with exactly the same part. One of the beautiful things about modern design is that we've designed things to be modular, or we've kind of cut corners in design costs by just reusing old stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff that's compatible with each other with little to no modification even. So yeah, you can take parts from different generations as long as the same base profile is the same and the holes line up and all the gears match up and everything. You're good to go. It's just slightly different. So you just got to weigh the pros and cons.
Huh. Okay, so here's a question for all the panel, right? Like we're all in the crypto space. We're all trying to get cool vehicles. I presume that at some point, if the crypto wealth hits and we're able to gamble our way into billions and trillions of dollars, do we have a ideal car that would be like the project car, an ideal daily driver, and like maybe something in between? Is this something you guys have thought about? I know a lot of people talk about the car stuff when they're thinking crypto. Brendan, I'll toss it over to you first. Do you have a fancy whip that you would go buy if we get the billions and trillions of dollars?
You know, cars are not where I'm going to want to spend most of my money. But if you want me to throw in like an old school sports car, I really, really like 1972 Camaros or any of them that are kind of around that build date. Those are fantastic. So maybe I get that over to Josh and Zenith to fix back up for me and get me into pristine condition. But there is a cool car company called Lucid. It is kind of I guess, I don't want to say it's like a Tesla competitor, but it is electric vehicle. But they focus on really high end builds. So they're faster. They have much more mileage, and they have some really cool things like you can get massage seats in the car. But it's just super, super high end, fancy electric vehicle. They're really fun to drive, but I don't have anything super, super exciting that I'm going to drop like 500K on.
Okay. I will say it was fun riding with you in Miami when I went down there. And was it a hybrid what you were rolling around, or was that an electric car totally?
Were you in my black vehicle, or were you in the white Tesla?
It might have been.
We have both. I think it was my hybrid. Yeah, it was my new hybrid.
I think it was I think it was a black one. I don't think I've ridden
my new Hyundai Sonata. Yeah. Which is, by the way, fantastic car. Love it.
That thing was comfortable. I enjoyed that one. Fucking A, right. What about you, Josh? What would you, if you had billions and trillions of dollars from digital online currency gambling, what would be your next step in the car world? Would you scrap the Miata and go get yourself a nice Ford F-150 perhaps?
I sold my Miata about 2 years ago, so that thing's gone. I have the 180 SX, which is already right-hand drive turbo cool car. If you want to call it a cool car. I mean, it's rare nowadays. But I've wish-washed on this question so many times. But if I had the money right now and I could buy it, I'd probably get an R33 GTR. I'm a simple man.
Ooh, that is an unpopular pick, sir. But
nice car.
Why do you say the R33?
I don't know. There's something about it. Like the R34 is kind of played out. I do love it. I wouldn't mind having one. That would be cool. I don't know. There's something about the R33, like the smoothness of it. It kind of reminds me of like a 240 SX S14. Except not ugly.
Okay.
And it makes all this good. It makes all the good sounds too. It sounds good. I love RVs.
That's a beautiful car.
R33 GTRs, baby. Mm-hmm.
Will, do you mind pulling up my screen share real quick?
Yes. Let me scroll down to it. Oh, boom! There we go. Add to stage. What do we have here?
You've asked us like I don't think you realize it, but for car people, you ask like the most deep rabbit hole questions you could possibly go down. Real quick. So what Josh is talking about here is the R33 GTR. This is what is colloquially known in America as the Nissan Skyline, but there are a few different generations. This is the R33. It's a very pretty car. Unfortunately, I call this an unpopular or an uncommon pick. It's not that it's unpopular. It's just that this is probably the least popular of the generations. Still very cool. I want to say on this generation, they actually went to four-wheel steering, where they added a feature where the back tires, they will turn very slightly when you also turn the front wheels. Yeah, a very cool concept. But it was, gosh, this thing was back 95 was the first one for this one, I want to say. But the reason I say it's the least popular is because the other ones are more popular. This is the R32. This is the original one, if you will. This was Nissan's design of they wanted to have a race car. So the idea was you get a small car and you put a giant engine in. The RB series of engine, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's a straight 6 engine with a turbo.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
So from factory, if it's a GTR, it's a 2.6 twin turbo, inline 6, of course.
Yeah, they are. This is the old race version of it.
Calisonic. Cheskis.
Yep.
Godzilla.
There you go. Godzilla was the nickname that these race cars got because they were just so damn good. And they also look amazing. This is kind of like the George Clooney of like 90s JDM cars, which stands for Japanese Domestic Market Cars. So they have cool features like different colored, like headlights, taillights, and blinkers and stuff like that. And then also the famous right-hand drive. And then the one that people would mostly know if you talk about a Skyline or a GTR. GTR, by the way, is a gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Not trim level. I guess it would be a trim level. It's like the highest spec of that model of car. The R34 is this one. This is the car made famous by Fast and Furious 2, driven by Paul Walker. This is like, if you ask like teenagers back in the early 2000s what car they wanted, like this, there's a good chance that this is the answer. It is just drop dead gorgeous. So the GTR or the Skyline was discontinued, but they continued on the GTR name, which is where we now have the Nissan GTR of modern day, the R35, if you will. This one is it's no longer a straight inline 6. I want to say it's still a twin turbo V6, but this thing is an absolute monster from the performance standpoint. And if you're looking at people that are making like 2,000 plus horsepower, like doing either rolling races or drag racing and stuff, odds are they're probably picking something that's either this, a Viper, or a Lamborghini of some kind. And those platforms are they're just built bulletproof, and they can handle tons of power that you throw at it. But also, like this version of GTR, it's a good looking GTR. Although at the same time, they've been on this model for over a decade at this point. So everyone speculates when's the next one coming out. We don't know yet, but they've been teasing it forever, but they're still just keeping on with this one. And I got to say, like, it still shows.
I recognize.
I mean, they also have problems with the transmission. That dual clutch transmission, once you put power to it, it's going to go bye-bye pretty quick. They also don't sound as good as the older generations before it. If you listen to like the V6, it just doesn't give me that eargasm like the inline 6s.
Yeah. So to get a little more autistic with the engines here, what Josh just referred to is there are different noises that are created by different engines. One of the most famous examples of the populace learning about this is in the current C8 Corvette. So the reason that all the old American V8 engines have that like gurgling, bubbling, like blah, 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 sound to it is due to the way that the engine is designed. And in particular for those ones, that is the crank plane. So the crank is the thing inside the engine that the pistons connect to that spins, that goes from lateral or linear power to rotational power. This Corvette C8, their engine, the base model, still has that cross-plane crankshaft, if you will. But if you actually go to the ZR1, this engine sounds more like an Italian or a European V8. The reason being is an inline crank plane. And it's very high revving, so they have a lot more high-pitched sound to it instead of just like that raw guttural sound. But also, I guess it's my turn to get into this. Back in the 80s, there's this thing called Group B rally racing. And there was a car that was very good. That is the Audi Quattro. In particular, this is the S1. I think that this is one of the coolest sounding and just the sexiest looking cars that has ever been designed. The reason for it sounding so good is that it is a straight 5-cylinder. A straight 5-cylinder, if you look at the math from rotational, there are 360 degrees in a circle. And if you have pretty much when you're making power, you can only be making power for close between 90 and 180 degrees of that rotation. What the inline 5 does is it actually has those, if you imagine the circle, you can imagine like highlight on that circle where each cylinder is creating power. On an inline 5, what you get is there are actually points where multiple cylinders are actually making power at the same time. So it sounds like a very smooth exhaust note, and that's what I like. Additionally, if you take an inline 5 and you turn it and you double it and you make it a V-shaped engine, you get a V10. Those are very famously found in stuff like the Lexus LFA, many Lamborghinis out there. The Porsche Carrera GT, I believe, also had one. So it's a very unique note. But I guess the answer for my question is, if I had time and money to throw at it, I would like to take my high school car, which was a B5 Audi A4, just a humble little 1998, 99, 2001 car that had a straight 4 turbo engine. But I would love to get a straight 5-cylinder that you can rip out of a Volkswagen and then put it in here, turbocharge it, and I bet it would sound amazing. And then also do the fun livery and maybe some body kit modification to make it kind of look like the S1 of back in the day. I think that would be sexy.
Hell yeah, dude. I like it.
All right, let's keep going down your rabbit hole question though. You guys stop me when you're tired of me rambling. So if we have unlimited money and we want to buy the Gucci car, for me, I love the Koenigsegg Agera RS. Famously, this is not a street legal car, but I like the RS because I think it's a much better looking version of the Agera. Koenigsegg is also a famously hard to work with company because they are very expensive. They make every single one of their parts in-house. So trying to find replacements or work on anything is very expensive, time intensive, and just annoying. I think the RS is the sexiest one. And by the way, the RS was made famous by the terrible movie Needs for Speed with, who's the guy from Breaking Bad that plays Jesse Pinkman?
Oh, man. We know who it is.
Okay. All right. So there's that one, but a more realistic answer, if you will. By the way, this car costs over $1 million. A more realistic answer is I would just love an Audi R8. I fell in love with it ever since I saw it in the first Iron Man movie, and they are just super cool cars. They have a V8 version and a V10 version if you want that exotic sounding engine, and they also just look sick. It's got the nice little like carbon side wing there going down the side. It is a mid-engine, aka engine is behind the front person or the driver, excuse me, if you will. Let's go ahead. And the reason I say this is, go for it.
When you're done, I do want you to pull up another car, but you finish this up first.
Absolutely. And by the way, these things are surprisingly affordable. These are the newer models, but let's see.
Surprisingly affordable at $105,000.
I know I say that, but let's do this. You can get an Audi R8 with, what is that, 34,000 miles? V8 engine and the cool looking car for about $65,000, $70,000. And it's an Audi, so they're just engineered pretty darn good. Normally, I think a lot of people might go for some higher end stuff. Let's see, where did it go? So you might want to buy a Lamborghini Huracan. Fun fact.
Oh, hell no. Piece of shit.
Guess who owns both Audi and Lamborghini? Would be the Volkswagen Group.
VW.
Volks.
Oh, that explains why they're always broken.
It might be. Here's the fun fact. It goes back to what you mentioned, which is that you don't have to buy parts for the same exact car. So there's a weird debate that kind of goes on inside car circles, which is the Audi R8 a supercar or not? Meanwhile, people are like, yeah, it's a Lamborghini. It's a supercar, obviously. What if I told you that the Lamborghini Huracan and the Audi R8 shared parts, meaning that a lot of the stuff that makes them what they are came out of the same factory and are easily swappable one for one?
Just like the Lamborghini Diablo and the 300ZX, the Z32 had the same headlights.
Yes, sir. It's more than that, though. I'm talking about the engine. It is the same V10 engine that is in a Lamborghini Huracan and an Audi R8. They're actively made by the same group. And additionally, it also shares parts with the Lamborghini Gallardo. But tell you what, the dream of a young Uncle Z back when he was a child was I wanted to design and build cars for Ferrari. Well, later on, I realized how unrealistic that was, but also how difficult that would be. And we started, making good financial decisions with our life. So I became an engineer and did the whole military thing. But the car that I would love to have, a Ferrari, is a Ferrari 458 Italia. I remember seeing this thing come out as the predecessor to the F430. And I was like, this is the coolest thing since sliced bread. It is hot. I like it a lot. There's a later model that is called the Ferrari 488, which is pretty much a newer version of this. And then they continued on going to the F8. And then I believe it's the F80 now that they have as one of their cars. And in my opinion, this is like the last true cool Ferrari for me, because this is the last naturally aspirated V8 that Ferrari made. Everything else was some sort of forced induction or some sort of like weird V6 looking thing. But in my mind, this thing is hot. And if you want to go a little more retro, a car that I think just aesthetically is super cool is the Ferrari 348. This thing screams 80s to me. And it screams it because of those weird little like side vent knife looking things. I think this is hot. I think that is hot. That is Miami Vice.
Get a Countach. Countach is the ultimate cokehead car.
That's true.
Wolf of Wall Street car? Hell yeah.
That was also true. But I mean, back to like more like collector stuff. I think this is possibly one of my favorite cars that's ever been built. This is
Don't forget, Z, we still got to squeeze Brendan in here somewhere at some point between your 3 dozen selections.
Last one, I promise. This is the Mazda RX-7, specifically the FD, the coolest looking one that there was. The thing that is different about this car than all the other ones is that this had a rotary engine in it. By the way, this is the car, or a recreation of the car from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift that Han had, and this is the Veil Slide body kit added onto it. And gosh, this thing just, like, it is hot. It is just, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Ari Mamiya looks better, in my opinion.
Which one?
Ari Mamiya.
Can't quite make out what you're saying on that one.
It's REAMENIYA, I want to say. It's the body kit for the RX-7s.
Ooh. Okay, yeah. This is like more of a track time attack focused body kit. So it's definitely gonna be a lot more functional than the Veil Slide. But that is also a hot looking car. Again, the cool thing
about
Veil
Slide is too much.
I agree, it is, but it has the real deep like wide body kit on it, which is pretty cool. But notably, the thing about this one is that it uses what's called a Wankel engine, which doesn't use pistons. Instead, it is the magical spinning Dorito. And these things, if you can modify it so that there's no valves on this. So traditionally your car with pistons and stuff has valves. This one just has holes for the intake and exhaust. So when the Dorito passes over these things, it either takes in, well, pretty much there's three parts of the power stroke going on right now. So whatever different side of this Dorito, the magic triangle, it's in a different phase. So like right now, this side is an exhaust, this is intake, this is compression and combustion. And what you can do is you can actually port them so you can open up these holes so you can actually get a little bit of slight overlap when intake and exhaust happens. And you get a really, really cool sounding exhaust note. And additionally, because of that, they rev super high. And if you want to do a thing called two-step, which is pretty much allowing the you're using intake and exhaust gases at the same time to keep a turbocharger spooled while it's not actively like having your foot on the gas. These things sound like machine guns when you do that, and they shoot giant fireballs out the back. So from just me being the redneck engineer, just like, hell yeah, brother, like for me, that's just the coolest. I love it. It's obnoxious though, I will say.
You had me at magical spinning Dorito, bro. I freaking love it. That's really cool.
The downside is that these have fewer parts, but you also have to replace them and rebuild them at much faster intervals than a normal engine, largely due to the seals that are used to keep everything in compression. There are seals at the tips and all along the edges, and they notoriously go about every 60,000 miles.
And you got to pre-mix them. You got to treat it like a two-stroke.
That's true. These are self-oiled, meaning that there's no oil pan, there's no oil squirters, except for the ones that you install to keep it lubricated. So this is pretty much close to a two-stroke dirt bike, which is that you have to pre-mix the oil into your gasoline to self-lubricate the engine as it runs.
That sounds tedious.
It's very high maintenance, but at the same time, like, it's just so damn cool, man. Come on.
That is pretty nifty. Brendan, what did you have, broski? You got a share screen, or do you want me to pull something up?
I mean, I could get a share screen. Yeah. Zenith, you pretty much just lost doing like 90% of that.
I told you it was an autistic rabbit hole, and we went there. Nobody stopped me.
Hey, I knew he was talking about A.
Yeah, me and Josh are right on the same page.
Yeah. So, something like that.
I do like some Aston Martins.
Ooh.
And they put out a new Vanquish this year. I don't know if you saw their new release. of the 2025 Vanquish, but it's a V12. Not a cheap car. I don't know the exact price. I'm guessing somewhere between 350 and 500K, but it is a beautiful, I should probably share my screen. It's a beautiful looking Aston Martin. I saw a few of them when I lived in Miami. Never a 2025, but I should say I'm not quite sure if it was or not.
Those things are hot.
Share my screen.
Brendan, if you're an Aston Martin man, does that mean that you might have a favorite Aston Martin from a Bond movie?
So this is the Vanquish V12. It's just a really elegant, beautiful looking vehicle. It's expensive, probably more than it needs to be, but everything about it is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, those are great looking cars, and they're the one of the cool things about them is that they're not designed. Can they do high performance? Yes. Are they designed for high performance on a track? No, but
Luxury.
They're designed to be luxury, baby. This is one of the most comfortable things you could ever possibly sit in, and It is designed and built to meet that spec. They are immaculate.
And that's it, right? Like I don't need like a super crazy sports car, but it's fun. I do love going fast. So for me, that mix of elegance and performance is really perfect mix. And Aston Martin is one of those companies I think that does it better than anyone.
They make cool ones. By the way, sir, you gotta answer the question though. Do you have a favorite Bond Aston Martin?
Ooh, that's a really, really, really hard one. Because the DB5, I think, is probably maybe the most well-known, really, really popular. But they did have the Vanquish in not the best Bond movie, Die Another Day. So that one's up there because I really like the Vanquish. But I'd say between the DB5 and the Vanquish, probably my favorites. How about yourself?
Yeah, the DB5 is the classic James Bond spy car. The Vanquish is a good one. My favorite one though is going to be the Aston Martin DB9 from Casino Royale. I think that one for me, I don't know why, it just hits in the brain receptors go unga bunga, cool car.
I forgot about that one. Also, I like Casino Royale. I know some people don't love it. I thought that was a great Bond movie. I really liked it. Plus, I was playing poker at Casino 3 times a week back then. So for me, it was like perfect timing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I happen to think that Casino Royale is possibly one of the best Bond movies they ever made.
Okay, I agree. I 100% agree with you.
So, folks,
is that the one they have him tied up in the chair and they hit him in the nuts?
Yes, it is.
All right, I was making sure.
So this is the DB5. This is like the old school classic James Bond car. I want to say they have one of these in what's the movie after Skyfall? They also have it in Skyfall, I want to say.
I didn't like Skyfall that much.
Yeah, this is a cool one. The Vanquish is kind of like it's been a flagship of theirs for a long time. Very, very cool. Very just good looking car. I guess the technical term you're looking for is a Grand Tourer, which is it's designed for comfort and just to be enjoyed and that kind of stuff. Not exactly track performance. If you want the track performance, that would be their Valkyrie. This thing is designed. Yep. Yeah, this thing is just designed to be the absolute craziest thing you could ever possibly imagine and put on a track. Like, that is the rear view. The main cockpit is almost separated from the wheel compartments, specifically so they get better aerodynamics and get better downforce on the car by having faster air going under it. It's kind of like turning an airplane wing upside down, so that if you have fast moving air, you create a low pressure zone. So the high pressure outside of the car pushes the car down onto the road. This thing is just crazy.
Yeah, for me, I like track cars. I'd love to drive them on a track, but I'm really more focused on cars that I can drive every day.
Oh yeah.
And again, I'm not a car you guys obviously know a lot more about cars than I do. I kind of just know the basics, being around guys, smoking cigars, having some whiskey. And look, I like cars. I love the way they look. I could go through a car museum and spend the entire day or more. But I'm not looking at the ins and the outs, the little details, Zenith, like you're tearing this thing apart. By the way, that was really cool that what you just showed of that underbody of that car. That's very cool.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
know.
Also, Paul Stacks has his favorite from Bond. He said DB9 or DB5, so he's right there with you, Zenith.
There you go. Albert Burton also has a car. Phil or Will, you probably don't even recognize what those words are.
I don't know what any of this stuff means. Pull it up. What is this? Yoda AE86?
Oh, that's my boy. That's my boy Albert. A Toyota AE86
up,
from
Albert?
Initial D. It's a
here
hero
we
car
go.
from Initial D.
Yeah, it is.
Good man.
It makes like 80 horsepower. It's rear-wheel drive, manual transmission. It weighs almost nothing. Sick car. It's kind of like a Miata. It's kind of like a Miata essentially, except a little bit more roomy.
Yeah,
Okay.
Will, I got a screen share for you when you're ready.
All right, I will pull it up. Jamie, add that to the screen.
Yes,
Hi, Albert.
this is.
If you're still on here, I love you.
This is the famous AE86 that was made famous by the anime Initial D back in the 90s. The backstory is that this is kind of just like the family car for a guy's tofu business, but it turns out that his dad is a legendary racer, and he keeps this thing as just his pet project car and just tries to max it out as much as he can. And he subconsciously trained his son to be a race car driver and turned street racer. And they do toge racing on kind of like the mountain passes in Japan. So this is kind of like where drifting was really first made popularized by, because they found the fastest way to really do the downhill on the mountain passes over there is you actually slide the car instead of try to just do conventional grip racing. Yeah, this thing, it's not the coolest, it's not the coolest or the craziest and the most high tech, but the whole point of that show is just like, look, learn your car, get it dialed in, and then just be the best driver you can be. And overall, I gotta say, I think it's a good looking car. This is like very, very good 90s car.
Back then it was very futuristic looking, right? It was like, what are we gonna do with this thing? Also known for drifting, I think. So I think that's exactly what you're talking about. So perfect for that anime, which by the way I've never seen.
That's what is that? Not the word ubiquitous. That's like when everyone like makes the videos of the cats like running around a corner, and you hear that
running in the 90s.
Yeah, running in the 90s. That's all from Initial D, right?
That it is. So one of the cool things about Initial D from the anime standpoint is that they use a type of music called Eurobeat. It was a very fast-paced, kind of like techno-sounding Italian dance club music, but for like race scenes, it goes hard. And the Sears is very famous for that. Also, the way that they do the drawing and the animation of like the aggressive like lines and whatnot, it's something that a lot of other shows like they'll do spoofs or just like references to that kind of stuff. So yeah, there was I can't remember the name of the show, but recently it was like just some friends that are hanging out at the top of the mountain, and they have two cats getting in a fight, and then they hop on they steal their skateboards and start racing down the hill, and they make a whole like 2-minute bit out of like just ripping off Initial D for these cats like racing on skateboards. It's dumb, but it's if you get the reference, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Initial D music is there's a word to describe like the thing that everyone knows. Oh shoot, my laptop is not plugged in. Is it plugged in now? Now it's plugged in. Okay, my laptop almost died. We almost lost Mr. Producer. I'd still be on screen, but I would not be able to switch cameras and things. Well, you guys have all talked about your favorite awesome fancy schmancy cars, and I will be the first to admit that I know almost nothing about cars, but I do have a car that if the crazy amounts of money were to make its way into my pockets, this is something that I would get. Let's see, there is my share screen. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is a Hemet truck, a heavy expanded mobility tactical truck, an 8-wheel drive off-road truck used by the U.S. Army and Marine Corps for logistics and resupplies, manufactured by Oshkosh here in the United States. It's a fucking workhorse. So I've got a couple different ideas of things that I could use. This is an R2D2. For those of you guys that don't know, this is a CWIS or a CAUS anti-missile defense system. It's basically a super smart turret that shoots everything. So that's a cool option. there's also this, which is where a lot of people, because you can buy a Hemet truck for like 40 grand and turn it into like the ultimate off-road camper mobile. You can get all sorts of different types of attachments and things to put on here. You can carry box trucks, you can have wrecker things, you can carry fuel or water or all sorts of fun stuff. And most importantly, you can turn it into the motherfucking doof wagon from Mad Max. So that is the truck that I want. I want a big, huge, fuel guzzling, super strong, crazy truck with which I can put all sorts of crazy stuff on. And apparently they also have this stuff in Warhammer 40K. They also have things very similar to the Mad Max idea, where they got the people, the orc guys. It looks like the orcs running around on
The
their little
orcs.
thing. So, yep, there we go.
You need to have a fortune just to be able to fuel it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this thing is definitely. I think it's like 2 miles a gallon or something like that. But I mean,
let's
just fucking
talk
look at
about the
it.
fuel. Let's talk about the fuel real quick. Will, what kind of fuel does this truck run off of?
It runs on JP8, which is diesel.
So this is also definitely a very popular truck for people that are doing the doomsday prepper scenarios. Will, what can you make diesel out of pretty easily?
Plastic.
Vegetable oil.
Vegetable oil. There you go. There are people that travel around the country in this thing, and they swing by fast food restaurants that they call ahead to and say, "Hey, do you have any old French fry oil that you're trying to get rid of? I'll take it." All you have to do is pretty much filter out particulates and then add a few additives, and you can stick that right in that truck, and it will run off of it.
You can also put used oil and used transmission fluid inside of them to run off it as well.
Bingo. There you go.
There we go. This would be my my crazy car of choice. And then I'd also want, like, as a project car, I'd want a little smart car, and I would turn that also into a Mad Max mobile. That would be part of my little collection of things. But no crazy race cars or fancy comfort vehicles for me. At least not at this stage in my life. I want a big nasty thing that I could take up into the woods and like use for logging adventures, or I don't know, maybe carry around shipping containers or do other crazy things. But
I hear you. One of the things I like about Aston Martin though is, it's also a collector's item. They only make so many of them. So as we are in crypto, like I all the cars, go down in price, right? But they're collector's items and they're cool. I think the Vanquish, I don't even know how many they made. I can't imagine they made more than 1 million or
I would be surprised if they made more than 10,000.
I think they made more of that one actually, Zenith. At least the 25. I could be wrong though. Maybe I was thinking. By the way, there was a condo in Miami. It's the Aston Martin Towers. It's the first residential tower that went up in the world, at least in the United States. I'm not sure about the world, but it was so rare that whoever buys a penthouse gets an Aston Martin that they only made 20 of. And the penthouse, when they first announced this building, you could buy it for 25 million. By the time they sold the penthouse and it opened, by the time they built the building, they'd already upped the price of the penthouse to 50 million. It doubled in price from when they started building to the end building. 2 years.
Pretty crazy.
So like, did somebody pay it?
Oh, yeah, someone paid it. Not only that, but you also got a private elevator to bring your car up to your penthouse suite.
Pretty based.
That's like some freaking who's that Sirius Radio Howard. That's some Howard Stern stuff. Yeah, I know he drove his car all the way up to his penthouse. Zenith, what did you have? And then I want to do a seamless transition over to talking about Bitcoin.
Yes. Brendan, I do have the numbers here for you. I want you to guess. So the Aston Martin Vanquish was produced from 2001 to 2007, and then again between 2012 and 2018. Over the course of those 2 generations, how many cars do you think they made or sold?
10,000.
That's what my initial guess was, but we are both way too high. The correct answer is 2,589.
Damn, I guess right. I was going to say 2,000. That's crazy.
There you go.
Well, there you go. It's a collector's item.
Yeah, so there are...
So how many did they make of the 2025 version?
I don't know. Let me see if I can find the numbers for that. But the first generation, they made 1,500 standard Vanquishes. They made 1,086 units with the V12. And then for the second generation, there's only been less than 500.
Okay. It looks like this one might be 499. No, that's the last year. It's 2024. But by the way, it's 824 horsepower. So it rips.
It moves. It moves.
And what are you going to use that on the street, though? Like, realistically. That's what I always say, like,
You know,
a modest car, you can dust anyone with, like, if you get, like, 600 horsepower, that's more than enough to chop people. You don't need more than that, because you have a problem putting the power actually to the wheel, keeping it on the road.
Yep.
For me, it's more for the luxury. That's why I like the Aston Martin, because it balances the luxury and the performance. You don't really need that. You're not going to notice the difference between 824 and 600 really. When you're on a normal street. Maybe if you go to Arizona and you go to the Autobahn, that's different, right? Because you're able to rip those things up to 150, 160 miles an hour. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you're not going to notice a big difference.
And to bring it back to the original, that's why people love the Miata, because it's all the power you're ever going to need, and it gives you a great experience along the way. I'm not going to say it's the most comfortable or luxurious thing, but at the same time, for the raw driving experience, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's always nice having the steering wheel right in your lap. It's like aftermarket steering wheel, and it's just right there on you. I can steer it with my wiener.
True. All right. Well, I believe you had a question that you asked me about.
So one of the things that I noticed had happened. So first off, Bitcoin, we're at some pretty cool new. We made a new all-time high recently, didn't we?
2 days
Yeah,
ago.
we did.
126K?
126,000.
Yeah. That's pretty cool stuff. I had seen that there's a new like U.S. regulation that like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is now been removed from CAMT tax, which I have no idea. Oh, corporate alternative minimum tax. So I don't know what that means. But this is, I guess, IRS clarifies rule for corporate alternative. I'm trying to find the article, but anyways, fucking let's talk about Bitcoin for a little bit while I look for this thing and what it means for people. So we've got some new price action. Do you have any technical analysis you want to run the folks through real quick, Z? Whilst I look
Sure.
for this thing.
Go ahead and pull up the screen share there.
All right. Oh, look at that. You're already ready. Fucking A. I need to be a better producer. There we go.
Alrighty. So, yes, Bitcoin did make a new all-time high recently, $126,000. By my eye, we are currently on day 38 of the cycle. We just ticked over as of the start of the stream. So, one of the things that we've been seeing is that, well, we had doubts about where it was going, and then we had an absolute gigapump. This is up about 18%, I want to say, before we had a very, very sad Tuesday, effectively, and then small recovery. But for me, the big thing that I'm looking at here is, yes, this is a new all-time high in the time of the 4-year cycle where we are expecting to make new all-time highs. And we got a little into that overbought area on RSI. I was hoping we were going to stay there for longer so that this could continue to run to the upside and really move towards those higher levels. But what we saw was our previous all-time high was about 124,000 and change. And then this one's just a hair above that. But what I'm looking at is our moving averages. We are well above the 20-day moving average, and our 20 is back above our 50-day moving average, and we're still well above our 200-day moving average. So overall, in my opinion, like the market sentiment is definitely up. The craziest thing was like back here on the 20th or late September, if you will, the fear and greed indicator got all the way down to like the mid 30s before we got all the way back up into the mid 70s for this all-time high. So it's kind of an interesting thing going on with the market, which is that the price is moving up, but the sentiment or what people are doing with it is it swings hard in both directions very quickly. I kind of figured a lot more people would just be in the up only area or the thinking that this is only good times, but there's a lot of different sentiment that goes on every week with just the price fluctuations that we see here. Overall, I think that October is going to be a very good month. It historically is for crypto. And as it started so far, I think that, yeah, odds are we're going to have a very good October because our October started off here at about $114,000 Bitcoin. So assuming we close above 114, which very, very possible in my opinion, look, October should be green. It should be a good month for folks. But yeah.
Hey, Z. Just
hit me.
fear and greed real quick. It's interesting what you just said, and I think it's pertinent to remind people that it's important to try to figure out when euphoria hits the market. With such big changes in fear and greed over a short period of time, it shows me that euphoria is not here. It's not close. And so that's something that every time that I look at things like that and I hear things like that, I'm always saying, okay, we haven't even come close to hitting, that up only, that euphoria point of the cycle. So that, again, not financial advice, but for me personally, it shows that we got some ways to run still.
I agree with that. And I was looking at that on previous streams, which is that whenever we've really hit those tops of the markets, they're traditionally over 80, if not well over 80. Back in 2021, when we had the first high before that double top, it got all the way up into the mid 90s. So it can definitely get up there higher. But it kind of goes back to one of the narratives that we've seen for this entire bull run, which is that this is like the most hated bull run that we've had. People are just like upset about it because things have not been happening the way they thought they normally would. And yeah, like the whole market psychology chart, I think, is especially important when we're trying to figure this stuff out. Because as it stands right now, if you were going off just a strict 4-year cycle, we are in that end game zone right now in October. October is the month, which is pretty much 4 years past our last all-time high. So time-wise, we're very much in that real possibility that this could be a cycle top. I personally don't think so. I would give it less than 5% chance. But as far as the indicators, new Bitcoin all-time high, yes, check. 4-year cycle timeline, yes, check. Altcoin season and large cap season, not quite. So we're there for 2 of the indicators, but we're not there for the rest of it, which is why I think that this is a very fun time for sure, because it's the time to make lots of money. But at the same time, it's a precarious place to be in because we know what happens on the backside of this good time, which is that we go down quick. So hey, take your profits where you can. Make sure you have a good strategy. Try not to get caught up in the FOMO. But even now that we're here, we have strategies built, but we're still doing that gut check of like, is it actually happening? Was I right? Was the plan correct? Like that kind of stuff. There's a lot of feelings going on.
I'm gonna give an opportunity for Josh to weigh in here. Josh, all this gobbledygook and all of these shorthanded jargon that Zenith is using, does any of this make sense?
I mean, yeah, kind
like,
of. I mean, my favorite is your technical analysis. Your technical analysis board you have. I think that's a very clear example. Clear example of stuff. Yeah, but yeah, especially just looking at it's kind of like just stocks. You just look at the economy and look how everything goes. Like that's the perfect example. I've tried to explain that stuff to people at work. Like time, money, stuff happens. It's gonna go up. It's gonna go down, but it's gonna go up eventually. It's got to.
Yep. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with not necessarily the asset becoming more valuable. I mean, of course, all the assets are becoming more valuable, but the dollar is also becoming more worthless at the same time. So, like, when you measure Bitcoin against the dollar, you're almost always going to have like the go up stuff, except for in these crazy bear runs and things. But then, when you start measuring other crypto assets to other crypto assets, you generally want to measure against Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the gold standard. And Zenith, do you have are there any like super simple little explanations? You touched on 60-day cycles. I can't see what the other little indicators are that you have on there, but can you kind of give like a quick little briefing on some of the indicators that you have pulled up?
Yeah. So one thing to watch out for is volume. When the volume ramps up, that's one of the indicators that we're kind of in that end game. RSI
that's like people
is
trading back and forth, like tons of in, tons of out.
Exactly. And by the way, Will, you hit on an indicator that was pretty important earlier, which is this Bitcoin going up or is this the US dollar going down? By the calendar year, the US dollar index is down 10%. Just throwing it out there.
Which is fucking nuts, man. 10% of like what cost you $1 at the beginning of the year now costs you $1.10. Congratulations.
Not quite that, but it's more of like measuring the dollar strength against other currencies out there in the world. That is the thing that has fallen 10%. I'm going to switch my screens real quick. Can you follow me?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready to bring it up. Boom, baby.
This is not what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for.
Not the droids.
Not the droids you're looking for. This is CoinGlass, where I use it to measure our ETFs. As you can tell by the chart, apologies, the scaling's not the best, but Bitcoin has had one of the best ETF it has had the best ETF influx week in its history. I want to say it was $3.6 billion came in pretty much last week, and by all accounts, it looks like it's doing pretty well in this week as well. So this cycle has definitely been influenced by traditional markets. That's why we saw Bitcoin hit an all-time high before the halvening, which is something that's never happened before. And now we see even more money flowing into the system, showing that, yeah, people are still buying this thing. This is still one of the best performing financial products that traditional finance has ever launched. So they're going to continue to keep double tapping it. One of the reasons that I see current market conditions working the way they are is that, remember this chart, we're going to flip over to our Ethereum ETF. Ethereum has had a legendary run recently, but at the same time, their ETF is in the most recent time is not doing as hot as the Bitcoin ETF. So we're kind of seeing a reversal of what we were expecting to see, which is that Bitcoin ran really well in the beginning. Now it's a time for other large cap coins and stuff like Ethereum to do well. But now we're getting a bit of going back to the early stages, is that, yeah, right now, the current conditions, Bitcoin is outperforming everything else again.
And for the folks at home who are unfamiliar with ETFs, or this is your first time hearing them, ETF is just an exchange traded future, which means that if you want exchange traded fund, if you want to buy Ethereum, but you don't want to go and buy it yourself, there's a company out there who will put a fake Ethereum in the stock market, and they say, hey, you can buy this thing and we'll hold it for you. And we'll buy it and sell it for you at the exact price. So basically, like, ETFs are just like the traditional finance buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatever else there's ETFs for, in their own particular little way by using their old, outdated stock market system. So it's just like it's Bitcoin and Ethereum for companies, for boomers, for whoever you want to like put into that category. It's not to say there's anything wrong with it from like a functional standpoint. From a morality standpoint, it's just it functions a little bit differently than Bitcoin and a little bit differently than Ethereum. You don't actually own it; it's not yours. You just own rights to the share for the thing that the company buys and sells and trades. So that's how those things work, and they reflect the price of the assets as well, right? Zenith, there's no point where they would be more or less valuable.
Pretty much. That was part of the whole approval process of showing that the funds cannot really be manipulated out beyond the price of the underlying asset. So, yeah.
All right, cool beans. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of old and outdated stuff, it's supposed to be a Warhammer stream, so you trying to get some Warhammer stuff going on real quick?
Yeah.
Let's kind of skipped everything. We rambled on about cars for like an hour, got a little bit of crypto in.
We did.
Probably rambled on. This is supposed to be a Warhammer stream, and we just completely...
Yep, that happens oftentimes. That happens a lot, Josh. What, Zenith, is this looks like the last thing that you want to talk about? And Brendan, I know that we got to get you out of here at some point too. So is this time for you to say goodbye, Brendan?
Yeah, it now's a good time as any. I'll say, Zenith, one thing for me also that I'm looking at is until Ethereum starts to run hard versus Bitcoin, I don't think we are done. Till Bitcoin tops and really gives to Ethereum. Now you could say we have a Bitcoin only cycle. Okay, I could buy that, but again, we haven't seen that yet. And so I'm waiting for Ethereum. I won't say all altcoins, but at least Ethereum to really start taking off in relation to Bitcoin for me to be like, okay, the next part of the cycle's here, altcoins. Now, it might not be all altcoins this time like it has been in previous cycles, but I'm at least looking for Ethereum because it's the leader of altcoins. And yeah, that's about all I got. So I hope the Yankees lose tonight. I can go make dinner for the fam. I got a busy day tomorrow. Extra early morning to work tomorrow, so I got to run. But thank you guys. Great to see you all. Good luck with the Warhammer, Hamey talk.
Much appreciated. But yeah,
all righty, Brendan. We'll see you later. If the folks want to find Brendan, you guys can find him at anonymous_bean over on Twitter and also in the DGen Roundtable Telegram, which you can find by hitting t.me/DRT join now. Thanks for joining us, Brendan. And it looks like is back to you, Z. So let's what have you got here?
All right. This is Games Workshop. Games Workshop is the company that owns Warhammer and all associated Warhammer properties. By the way, according to this chart, they are a $6 billion market cap company. They are publicly traded on the London Stock Exchange, not the U.S. New York Stock Exchange. But yeah, they have been a company that's been around since the 80s. And what they do is, well, they do this. They produce 40K and everything 40K related, which includes not just Warhammer 40K, but all of their products, whether it's Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 30K, the Horus Heresy. They also have the Old World. They also contracted with Lord of the Rings to produce a Middle Earth
what? That's awesome.
Game. Yep, it is a big company, and you can like lots of different stuff, whatever you like. But
that's really cool.
So you said, let's do a Warhammer stream. And I looked at you and I said, okay, what are we going to talk about? Because there is a lot that you can talk about. There is the tabletop game, which we're looking at here. So this is Warhammer 40K, the most popular tabletop game in the world, pretty much. They also have their fantasy game as well, which is Age of Sigmar, also becoming a lot more popular in the last 5 years as well. But then outside of that, there's also stuff like they actually have a phone game called Warhammer Tacticus, which uses the lore and a bunch of your favorite factions from 40K, which it's more of like it's a phone game pretty much. It's like small scale, like battle skirmishes kind of thing. It's fun. I've played it, but it's not the tabletop game. Additionally to the tabletop game, sorry, I got to change screens real quick. Come with me. There are a plethora of games. This is Steam, by the way. They have probably their biggest smash hit of the recent years, which is Space Marine 2, where you play as Captain Titus as he fights off various hordes of whoever, and you just run around with the guys and a good old chainsword and just tear through everything. Very fun game. But they also have other series like the Total War series, which is everything from 40K to fantasy and in between. And there's also a bunch of one-off stuff too. Like they made this thing called Warhammer 40K Bolt Gun, which is like a retro Doom-looking shooter kind of game. They have
that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it did pretty well. Gosh, I think I have another one called Teeth and Glory, which is about your little orc dude running around as like a platformer, fighting off all the various factions. And then, and then on top of that, they also have a ton
you're a
of
Tabs
books.
monster, aren't you? My God.
They have a ton of books that make up the lore in and of themselves. So let's see. Yep. A lot of different ones. So there's a lot of old books, but there's also a lot more recent books. One of the recent series that has done really well is that I think it was called like Order in the Divine. It was about the Necrons specifically. So it's not even Space Marines, but they're getting into their other factions. Infinite and the Divine. Yep.
So like what are the general factions that people can play as? Everyone knows about the Space Marines because the Space Marines is easy. It's a big dude in a big giant suit, super muscular, awesome. People know about the orcs because the orcs are mushrooms that turn green and they yell and they build stupid machines. There's even within the Space Marines, there's a whole bunch of different like subsects and things, right?
Yep, absolutely. So this is Warhammer 40K is kind of hard to get into unless you just focus on the Space Marines because they don't really do a great job of like categorizing stuff. So the best categorization that you can do is there is the Imperium of Mankind. There is the Factions of Chaos, which are splintered off Space Marines that happened during the Horus Heresy, which was like a giant Space Marine civil war. And then you have the various Xenos armies, but even inside of them, there are sub-factions inside themselves. Famously, the Eldari, or the Space Elves, they have different factions among themselves, and there's also like Renegade Eldari that became the Drukari, aka the Dark Eldar, who effectively, through their terrible, terrible deeds, created a new god of chaos inside of the warp. The warp is like the magical power inside of the Warhammer universe that is kind of like the manifestations of all living things and their negative emotions. They live inside the warp. The warp is also how they do like faster than light travel. So the way that they do that is you have to navigate the warp and then come out on another side. But inside of the warp, there's all kinds of like chaos demons and crazy crap going on. So it gets wild. But let's start from the top. So let's just start with Space Marines. Space Marines are what you think they are. They are just the big bad dudes in the power armor that go along fighting dudes. Probably the most famous chapter that you're going to find are called the Ultramarines. The Ultramarines are led by one of their Primarchs. The Primarchs are children of the God Emperor of mankind who sits upon the golden throne. The Primarchs are pretty much like, imagine the head of each chapter. That's who like the big leader is. But underneath the Primarch, they also have like captains, lieutenants, apothecaries, priests, regular units, specialized units.
Commissars.
Commissars are for the Astra Militarum or the Imperial Guard, if you will. So inside of Space Marines, you also have a bunch of different factions, and they're usually differentiated by how they're colored. So like these yellow guys, those are the Imperial Fists. They like fortifications and defending points. These are the Raven Guard. They are your super sneaky guys, and they like tactical Phobos armor and trying to be infiltrators. These are your Blood Angels. This is my faction. I like them a lot. They have a fatal flaw where they're kind of vampires, and they yearn for human blood, and they succumb to this thing called the Black Rage, where they see the visions of how their Primarch was brutally killed in the Horus Heresy, like Civil War thing. And then they also have these guys called Sanguinary Guard, which are dudes in golden power armor that fly around. This is the refreshed version, which look absolutely terrible, but there's all kinds of stuff. There's even a Space Wolves faction, which is like Nordic themed. And famously, Space Marines are these giant mutated humans who have like 3 hearts and extra lungs and organs and are like 10 feet tall and stuff. And they can't get drunk. But the Space Wolves, they found a way to get drunk, and they have a special grog that they like to drink after they brawl and whatnot. And they're like, it goes deep. Yeah. Space Marines.
You can go to like the Juggernauts as well, where it's like the Space Marines are dying off. What are they called, Juggernauts?
Dreadnoughts. Yeah.
Dreadnoughts. Yeah. Well, there's like the half-dead Space Marines, and there's like, oh, you're about to die? Here, we're going to put your half-dead body in this, keep you alive, and then we're going to keep you for centuries inside this trap forever. Whenever we need you, we're going to call you out, and you're going to destroy a bunch of stuff.
Exactly. So the famous joke is that if you made the fucky wucky and you're about to take the forever nap, but you're not quite there, they shove you in a dreadnought so that you can keep on fighting. The famous quote is that even in death I serve, which is that you're not like completely dead yet. So we're going to shove you into a dreadnought and you're going to keep fighting. And just to give you some time scale for these things, this is called Warhammer 40K because it takes place in the 40,000th year of the timeline that they keep. There's Warhammer 30K, which is all the predecessors before the Horus Heresy. And the timeline for the different factions, Warhammer lore in general, makes sense and doesn't make sense at the same time. It can be cool and grimdark and brutal, but also stupid and dorky at the same time. So for reference, the Tau Empire is like the newest species that they keep track of. During a battle, the Tau Empire captured a dreadnought after almost pretty much like cutting off all of its limbs, and they studied it, and they realized that this thing is older than we are. This dreadnought has been fighting for more than 10,000 years. Yeah, kind of crazy stuff.
So keeping stasis pretty much.
I've got a thing that I want to pull up, Zenith, and I want you to kind of sort of go through it.
Yeah, hit me.
Here we go. Where is my share screen? There it is. I've found it. So this is the faction list that I have found.
There you go.
Right. Is it? It's not missing anything, is it? This is pretty much the stuff. We got the Space Marines, Imperial Guard, Sisters, Bloody Dot, and then down here Orcs, the best one. And then these guys you were talking about, the Tau Empire, right down here, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. Alrighty, okay. So everything I just talked about fits inside of that one logo, Space Marines. Do you see that second row? Mm-hmm. 3 of those, the Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Space Wolves, are technically successor chapters of Space Marines. They're one of the original 20 chapters of Space Marines. 10 of them pretty much defected and went to Chaos, and then 10 of them stayed loyal to the Emperor and remained under the Space Marines. For all of you nerds out there that are now screaming at me that no, there are not 20 factions, there are 20 factions, but there are only 18 factions that remain in living history, and they kind of just wave off the other two. I believe the two missing factions are the 2nd Legion and the 18th Legion, and we don't know anything about them. And again, this is where lore makes sense and doesn't make sense and is smart and stupid at the same time. So to go through the rest of the Imperium, we have Imperial Guard. If you or I are in the world of Warhammer 40k, well, first off, Godspeed, because this is a brutal universe. The Imperial Guard is your everyday soldiers. They make up pretty much like your conventional army forces, and their battles are on the scale of having 1 million or 2 million people in whatever detachment they have on a planet fighting a campaign. They have tanks, they have aircraft, they have horse riders, they have a bunch of different flavors of it, whether you're the Catachan jungle fighters or the Death Korgs of Krieg, who are the cool guys with the trench coats and gas masks and ride horses and stuff. All that falls under the Imperial Guard. Next up, we have the Sisters of Battle. This is pretty much the evil Catholic Church incarnate. They are there to impose order on the Imperium of mankind and eradicate all the heretics and all the Xenos that are out there. They do so, and they are a primarily female-led force, and they have a lot of like very Catholic, very Gothic decor. They have a tank that is literally a giant pipe organ on a tank chassis that fires rockets out of its tank organ pipes. And they have a notable hero called Celestine. She is a living chaos or order demon, if you will. And one of the mechanics is that on the tabletop, when she dies, she actually comes back. And very cool model. But yeah, they have a lot of crazy stuff out there. They have some kind of like mech suit stuff right there. That's one of their leader units that you have on screen. But yeah, the Sisters of Battle, if you call them, or the Adeptus Sororitas is their name in there. And yeah, here's the whole point of Warhammer 40k. There's no good guy. Everyone is different shades of bad in different degrees. You could argue that the Imperium of Mankind are the good guys because they're the humans, therefore they have to be. But like you have a literal entire organization, the Sisters of Battle, that are there to just stamp out the populace whenever they start having bad thoughts or eradicate all the aliens because aliens are bad, therefore we have to get rid of them.
No one expects a Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, real quick, can you pull up the comment from Fast Abdul? Not his first one, but his second one. I mean, hit both of them because we like the guy.
All right, let's see. I will fight all of you, but you need to fight each other first. Teaming up against Will is probably a good strategy.
Well, that sucks for you because Will's one of my best friends, so it sucks for all y'all.
Yep. We're gonna.
Me and Will against the world. Me and Will against the world.
Against the world. We're fucking ready to roll. It'll be great. And then Pulse Jitsu asks, have you guys played Rogue Trader? I do not know. I do not know about Rogue Trader.
Rogue Trader is the original game produced by Games Workshop. This is the game that inspired everything. Rogue Trader was back in the 80s and early 90s, and then everything else has pretty much spawned outside of that. So, Rogue Trader is a cool game, but it's definitely become less favored as they've branched off and they had much more popular IP that all kind of calls and harkens back to Rogue Trader. If you want to play Rogue Trader now, what you're probably going to play is a game called Necromunda, and they have very cool models, but a lot of that stuff definitely falls inside of the scope of like kind of the side faction stuff, or it actually is kind of like an inspiration for two other factions here. That's going to be either the Gene Stealer cults down at the bottom, or the Adeptus Mechanicus, or the Talons of the Emperor up on the right there. But that is the most released, like nebulous concept. All right, Will, can you go back to your graphic there?
Yeah. Back to the graphic. Boom.
Alrighty, so up next we have Adeptus Mechanicus. This is like the technological arm of the Imperium of Mankind. It's where they have all of their new tech, and I use new in very loose air quotes. As part of the aesthetic of this universe, technology has kind of been lost to time, and they just hold on to the remnants of the past. They don't really understand how things work, but they just kind of like do weird like rituals, like praying to the Dark Mechanicus god, and having these people that are like tech priests who it's like you don't really know what they do, but only they knew. know, and you kind of like treat it like religion almost for your technology. Abdipsis Mechanicus live on Mars, and what they do is they kind of produce and help out with a lot of the mechanical stuff inside of the Imperium of Mankind. They are led by a man named Call. Call is a weird, very robotic cyborg-looking thing with floating tentacles. He is famously known for producing the Primaris Marines. Another layer here. So, if you started playing more than 10 years ago, good chances are you have what are called Firstborn Space Marines, or Space Marines that are created from the remnants of everything that came before them. Call upgraded Space Marines and created Primaris Marines. This is a functional a errata, if you will, because they kind of realized that the old Space Marines, they don't have any torso on their models, and they're just giant shoulder pads and guns. So they went from what is called 28 millimeter scale models to 32 millimeter scale models, and they look a lot better now. But because they created new models, they had to
into the details.
They had to
from 28 millimeters to 32, baby.
Yeah, they retconned the lore to fit their models that they're selling. And now they're slowly like trying to memory hole all the old stuff and just sell you the new stuff. So Firstborn Marines are kind of the old stuff. Primaris Marines are the Space Marines that you see nowadays. All right.
Oh, we haven't even gone to the Emperor yet.
Oh, that's another joke.
That's a whole. That'd probably take a whole episode of just the Emperor. Like even the Emperor now, they show him. He's just pretty much a skeleton hooked up to a bunch of machines. They sacrifice 1,000 souls to him or whatever they do.
Yes.
What's up with that? I wanted to ask you about that. So you know more about that than me. So expand my mind about the Emperor.
So go to the top row of pictures there. So you have two versions of the Emperor of Mankind. The left version is the Emperor of Mankind from the 30K or the pre-30K era, where he united all the human worlds and led them towards the amount of order that they had. During the Horus Heresy, he was betrayed and partially wounded, and that's how you end up with the picture on the right there. That is called the Golden Throne, or the Golden Throne of Mankind. He is effectively a corpse that they keep alive by sacrificing 1,000 souls to a day for the pure purpose of being the beacon, a North Star inside of the warp that allows them continue to do warp travel. The Emperor of Mankind was a kind of a psyker or a warp user in himself, and then also just exceptional in every way, which is how he was able to bring the entire universe to order for the humans anyways, before it started having his children, or his Primarchs, if you will, and they pretty much took DNA from the Emperor and created different versions of him, and those are the Primarchs that you see. But yeah, the entire point of having the Golden Throne, is to keep the lie alive so that the entire Imperium of Man doesn't fall apart, but also to act as the single thing that allows them to maintain warp travel, aka their light speed travel. And you need that North Star beacon that is the Emperor so that you can actually navigate the warp.
Huh. So he lives inside the warp, or he's in the real world?
Oh, no, he's in the real world. He's just sitting on it, like they said, the giant golden throne hooked up to all those machines.
Fucking A.
Yep, there you go.
Poor Zenith is gonna run out of lung space from all this talking about Warhammer. It's great.
Oh, no, that's one of the things I wanted to know was about the Emperor and stuff. I had a lot of questions, so
yeah. Tell you what, Will, can you go back to the graphic there?
Yes. Back to the graphic.
So down to the second row, there's a thing called the Grey Knights. Those are Space Marines, but they are different than Space Marines because they're kind of a separate legion. All the other legions have a Primarch who you know how I described they take the DNA from the Emperor to make the Primarchs? Well, they take DNA from the Primarch to make the rest of the Space Marines in that chapter. Pop quiz, who is the Primarch for the Grey Knights?
St. George.
They don't have one. They claim it's just the Emperor.
What is a Primarch?
Primarch is the leader of the chapter of Space Marines, aka kind of like a son or a mini creation of the Emperor.
These guys are about St. George's Crusaders is what these guys are.
Yeah, but here's the thing, is that being a warp user or a psyker in the Imperium of Man very quickly gets labeled you as a heretic, and you get scheduled for extermination somehow. But this is an entire legion of Space Marines who are all psychers.
What's a psyker?
Does that make a person who uses the power of the warp to cast psychic spells and psychic abilities?
Okay.
So the thing that is heresy is a core function of an entire chapter of Space Marines, effectively.
Fucking A.
Yeah. Look, the Grey Knights are very cool. On the tabletop, they're a lot of fun. In older editions, they cast a bunch of psychic spells and they move around through teleporting, and they have cool units and stuff. But in later, more recent versions, they kind of just got rid of a lot of psychic stuff on the tabletop game. And it's like, cool, the entire reason I played that faction was because they could use psychic, and you just got rid of psychic abilities. So why am I still playing these guys? And that's a question that we haven't found an answer to yet, other than they're just cool.
So the ones that you like to play as, you said were oh man. Oh shit.
Tau Empire is one of them.
Okay, the new guys.
That was my first faction. I also really like the Blood Angels. And I also like Thousand Suns and other Chaos Space Marines.
Who's the flame guys?
Those would be the Salamanders. The Salamanders are if there ever was a good version of Space Marines or anybody in this world, it would be the Salamanders. The reason I say that is that they are the only chapter that really cares about limiting civilian casualties, and they will actively go out of their way to help other people not die in the giant battles that they have. So Vulcan, that guy there, is their Primarch. These guys are very much flamer lovers, and they're noted as much because they have very dark blackened skin as a result from just exposure to just heat and all the crazy stuff that they have. But overall, this is the most humanitarian that you're going to get out of the Space Marines. So if you like them, hey, congratulations, you picked the best flavor. Also, if you like them because they like flavors, Flamers, that is also incredibly based. Flamers are their version of heavy flamethrower in this world. And one of the famous memes is, oh no, that's a lot of heresy. Brother, get the flamer, the heavy flamer.
The heavy flamer.
Very cool
That's
faction.
a lot of heresy. Oh man.
You mentioned it, so we might as well talk about it.
Yeah,
I am a dirty chaos lover, and I like the chaos factions because they have a lot of cool flavor to them.
Is Salamander inside of Chaos?
Nope, they are inside of the Imperium.
Okay.
The various flavors of chaos you get are going to be various flavors of the Chaos Gods or renegades from the Horus Heresy. But Games Workshop forgot to model those guys, so instead you're probably just going to play different color painted versions of the Black Legion, which is like the main version of Chaos Space Marines.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in particular, I like the Thousand Suns. They worship the god of deception and change, which is Tzeentch. 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 They have a very cool, like Egyptian aesthetic with like this giant headdress thing. And famously, as one of the bits of lore that they have.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Is that there was an event where they kind of were dying off, and Ahriman, their leader at the time, not a Primarch, because that would be Magnus. Magnus is the giant red dude. But pretty much what happened is that there was a giant curse or psychic spell cast on the Thousand Suns, and now their legions, the main dudes that they have, they are just animated robot bodies, effectively. They are giant suits of power armor that have dust inside them, magical dust, that used to be Space Marines, but now is an entity that holds it together and fights alongside them. So they have like this robot automata kind of aesthetic to their basic troops. But overall, this is a Psyker Legion, so they are very much magic caster guys. And it is denoted by the fact that they follow Tzeentch, the god of change, who is also a very notorious like magic guy. But the thing about Tzeentch is that it's the chaos god of deception and change. And by change, he means change all the time, always, now, in the past, present, and forever. It is schemes on schemes on schemes. It is machinations that are always developing. It sounds very cool, but when you have to write lore for it, what it means is that they always lose because their plan is to do something another time. I'm serious.
That seems interesting. How the fuck does that work? I got some
don't worry
cool,
about it.
Some cool toys over here.
Again, go back to where I said the lore is both smart and stupid at the same time. It is both cool.
It's like
and
plot.
dumb at the
It's
same
like plot
time.
armor. Gotta have plot armor.
It's like negative plot armor.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Same thing.
So tell me about some of the Xenos next.
The Xenos are some of the coolest things in the Warhammer universe. They're also the most They also get the least amount of updates from Game Workshop ever. And they're like an afterthought, even though they could very much be the coolest thing. In order of scale in this universe, Xenos should make up the majority of it. Instead, we get new Space Marines launches every month instead of looking at all the different things. So I'm serious. Craft Worlds, Harlequin, Drukhari, Ynnari, those are all factions of space elves. Craft Worlds are like kind of like spaceship guys, and they're honestly one of the oldest races in the universe here. And they kind of went to war with the old gods at the time when they were also trying to fight the Necrons, who are also in the Xenos category. The Necrons are an undead robotic race that enslaved gods and trapped them in stars when they finally turned on them in their own civil war, and now they use them as prisoners to just wreak havoc on things. So the main dude is called the Silent King. He is kind of like the big bad leader of it all. It's like robot dynasties pretty much. And it's a very cool character, and he's a very fun model to play on the tabletop and just paint up in general.
It looks like he says General Kenobi an awful lot. These guys all look like Grievous.
They do a bit.
Hello there.
Yeah. They're a very cool faction. They got a good bit of love in what's called 9th edition. There's different editions of the rules, but 9th edition was released in 2020, and they were part of a giant refresh. So they got a lot of cool new stuff. And a lot of people were like, wow, this is awesome. So they bought it. And then they're like, wow, you're not going to give us anything else because they're a Xenos faction, aren't you? And they're like, yep. And they continued to release their third Space Marine Lieutenant of the Year.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of which, I had another question for you. You're talking about like the warp drive stuff and like the light speed, or you want to call it, or whatever?
Yeah, the warp.
Expand upon them going crazy.
So inside of the warp,
You like
the warp.
you lose your mind, and it's like an LSD experience, kind of, sort of. I want you to expand upon it because I don't know anything about this. I'm asking you questions about it.
That's pretty much what it is. The warp was created by all the negative manifestations of every living thing in the Warhammer universe. So inside of the warp, it is chaos. It is illogical. It will absolutely corrupt you. You will go crazy. You will find all kinds of things in there, like chaos demons. And the chaos demons are usually offspring or kind of related to whatever chaos god that they are part of. So inside of the warp, there's all this crazy stuff. And just stuff is randomly popping out of it. It's ever changing. It's ever dying. It's ever fighting. It's ever brutal. It is just wild. But yeah, the warp is the trick to how they learn faster than light travel to get between all their different planets and star systems in this universe. So if you want to do that, you have to go through the warp. To go through the warp, you have to be exceptionally strong or know exactly where you're going, which is why only like the hardcore of the hardcores kind of go through the warp. Or if you're a Space Marine and you're the Imperium of Mankind and you're guided by the navigational system, that is that dead guy that sits on the giant golden throne. Yeah.
So pretty much just do a bunch of drugs and then go through like light speed and Star Wars. Just like punch it, Chewie.
Punch it, crunchy. Yeah, there we go.
You just take a bunch of LSD and you're just like, whoa, dude, crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. But yeah, I mean, I know, Will, I guess we'll talk about one real quick before we hit the orcs. So the Tyranids are kind of a ripoff of, gosh, what's the faction from StarCraft?
Steel Cults?
Nope.
Oh, fuck if I know.
Oh, gosh.
Which one? The Terrans?
The Tyranids, yeah. So this is like some deep lore. So the Tyranids were based off of, I want to say it's like the Zorg or something from StarCraft
the Zerg?
2. Zerg.
Zerg Swarm. Yeah, I was a big StarCraft person.
Zerg's the bad guy from Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So the Tyranid is a giant hive mind alien species that consumes everything it devours and is always evolving based on the things that it consumes to reconstruct into new matter and stuff. It is a very cool faction because it's the big bugs. They show up and they swarm and they eat everything and they're super cool. But from a lore standpoint, this is the faction that has the least amount of lore written from their perspective. There is plenty of lore written about Tyranid invasions. It is the biggest threat in the entire universe because it just shows up, consumes entire planets, and then just moves on to the next thing. They're super cool. If you want to play it on the tabletop and have like a giant faction that's just like a ton of just tiny dudes that like die at a sneeze, but you have like you have filled the board with them, and you have more in the reserve to backfill once the first row dies. That is the Tyranids or the Imperial Guard, pretty much. They're
cool.
Like Halo. Or
Exactly.
say like Yuzong Vong from Star Wars. There's not a lot of lore, but like the actual real stuff about it was like crazy.
Yeah, they're very cool. But arguably, what could also be one of the oldest factions in the entire universe is the Orcs. They are a very fun faction because they are a ragtag group of just brutal dudes that love fighting and love just building stuff out of scrap. And that is the Orcs. They are. The story goes that back in like the really ancient civil wars, when the Necrons were fighting the old ones and trying to win, the old ones asked the Eldari for help, and the Eldari said no. So they kind of created a race called the Orcs to fight on their behalf. And then the Orcs were just this like dumb race of just what allegedly is very high magical power. So they just build stuff. Does it work by technical spec? No, but it kind of just works because they believe it works, and dumb stuff like that. They just love fighting. They love making stuff. They love scrapping. They love collecting teeth and trophies. And
it reminds me of somebody I know.
Yeah, and the way that the Orcs
faction.
The way that the Orcs work from a higher hierarchy structure is you just follow the biggest, baddest orc around. And then if you think you're the biggest, baddest orc, you go fight the other biggest, baddest orcs around. And then if you win, you're the leader and everyone follows you. Yeah.
I just realized there's a whole other side to everything I've been scrolling through. I've just been going up and down, wondering, like, man, why is it cutting off everything on the side over here? Oh, that's why. These are my favorite. I love this.
Yeah, one of the famous things about the orc is that mechanically on the tabletop, they have what is called the WA, spelled W-A, 7 more A's and a G-H. It's pretty much kind of just like riling everybody up and just like a giant battle screech, and you go fight. And then during the WA, during the tabletop game, you kind of get like a giant boost in power, and then you just fight really hard and stuff like that. It is the orcs from the tabletop standpoint are one of the larger collections that they have because they're also very old. So they've had them around and they've gone through a range of refreshes. So there's kind of like 3 main ways to play orcs. You either have the Green Tide, which is just the giant massive orcs and they suck at shooting, but they do a ton of shooting. So the meme is that when you're playing on the tabletop, you get your bucket of dice and you roll it, and then you pick out your 5s and 6s, which is like all 12 hits, and then you keep going with that. The other way to play,
stack bar stuff.
Yeah. The other way to play is kind of like their scrapyard mechanic way to play. So they have like vehicles that are just like thrown together, and they have like crazy names and stuff. So they have like these helicopter motorbike things with rockets. They have planes that are just a giant missile in themselves that they try to fly along and shoot. They have planes that are made out of like entirely guns and stuff. And yeah. It's cool. They have bikers, they have buggies, they have dragsters that they've converted to war machines. They have the war truck, which is just a giant truck that they slapped a bunch of crap onto, and then if you make it big enough, it's a battle wagon. And they put a giant rolling drum from a roller, but a bunch of spikes on the front. They have a giant battleship cannon on the back. Like, it's just craziness.
I love this. This is perfect.
Yeah.
That's all you will. That's your personality in a nutshell. Is we just slap it together and we believe it's gonna work. It's gonna work, obviously.
And it fucking works.
If you just believe hard enough, it'll work. It's like Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's exactly right.
So we've talked a lot about the lore. You can find great stories, like good videos and stuff, talking about all the lore and whatnot. And we've talked a little bit about like playing the game, but there's an entire step that goes between I want to play the game and then playing the game, which is you have to collect your little miniatures. You have to build them, and then you get to paint them.
Fucking paint them.
Look, I was right there with you. My buddy sent me a pack in the mail for my birthday, and he had a note on it said that the first hit's always free, kid, like the drug dealer reference. And then I had to figure out how to build and paint these things. And then I just kept doing that. And then I didn't play that much because I was always like building and painting stuff. And then my friends were like, you say you hate this painting thing, but you kind of do it a lot. And I was like, no, I'm just doing this so I can play the game. And then later on, I was like, man, I actually really like this whole painting aspect. It's a lot of fun. You do a ton of customization.
To be kicking in.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you want to play Warhammer, hats off to you. It's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. If you want to just do hobby stuff and just have fun painting these little dudes that have cool stories attached, that's also a blast. I know the sticker price is a bit of a shock to folks, but at the same time, when it comes to hobby dollars per hour spent, this is some of the highest value that you can get because there's a whole lot that goes into it between the building, the painting, and the playing. It's pretty good. And
When
if
you
you
say
want,
building, what does that mean?
that means, where did it go? You can take it off the screen share real quick.
Yeah. I'm gonna
So-
full screen you.
You go from this, and inside of this, there are these. These are sprues.
No!
Yeah, these are sprues of little plastic dudes. You get to cut them out, assemble them, and then paint them. So you
Oh,
go
boy.
from this to something that looks like this once you put your black primer on it. And then eventually, once you paint it, you end up with something like this, which is your little tyrannid dude.
That's way too much effort for a game.
That is pretty cool. Would you ever hire someone to paint for you?
You can do
They
that.
charge arm
and
and a
you-
leg.
Yeah, because it's also like, how much is human time worth? That's the question. So I guess we'll pull it up. So I mentioned I played the Thousand Suns. This is your basic troop. To play a game of Warhammer, I need probably 50 of these guys. How long
Fuck.
That's just the basic troop. I also have other dudes that I add as well. But how long do you think it takes to paint one of those little guys? The Thousand Suns are a
20 minutes.
notoriously difficult paint scheme. It's actually
20
closer to
minutes.
an hour. It's closer to an hour
Bullshit.
and a half.
Yeah. I was going to say almost 2 hours trying to get the
Yeah.
finer details.
Not
Yeah,
with my single color, everything is neon green style.
Yeah, maybe if you just spray paint it, it'll take you like a minute.
Yeah. Just
So-
run it all through the machine.
Their Games Workshop has rules about what is a tabletop ready version of a paint scheme. And they say that you need to have 3 different colors of paints. And this has led to the famous meme of having the Neapolitan flavored army, which is you do a spray coat you spray paint a base coat, and then you take a bucket of paint and then you dip the 2/3 of it in, and then you take another color of paint and then you dip the top third in. So now you have 3 colors and it is technically ready to play. You go ahead and take me off screen. The big
That's
one, by the way.
fucking hilarious, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, is it time intensive? Yes. Is it a lot of fun? Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with this, and I will continue to do so, especially considering the deeper you get into the hobby, the more you realize that like this thing is designed for you to just kind of like go crazy with it. They give you the tools and the flexibility to just like make up your own Space Marine successor chapter and do all kinds of paint jobs. Nobody says you have to paint it the same color as the box. You can paint it whatever you want. So you can do a lot of crazy stuff with it too.
Make all the it sounds like fun with the orcs. You could literally slap things together and then be like, oh yes, this is how it works.
Yes,
I'm taking these
and
parts from
one of the funny
everywhere
things with
else.
the orcs is that if you don't think you're that good of a painter, well, that's the joke, which is, an orc painted this. Do you think they did a good job? It's just funny.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. What an excellent show this has been. Before we go too far, I just want to bring up this comment from Pulse Jitsu with Fast Abdul, Henry Cavill, Gary Oldman, and Vin Diesel, along with musician Brian May and South Park co-creator Trey Parker, all play Warhammer. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if they're all on like the same, like if they're on like a crew and they play together all the time, or if these are just like, that's a fun fact, they play Warhammer.
That's more of a fun fact.
Okay.
I don't know about the rest of the guys, but Henry Cavill is probably the most well-known example of like famous celebrity that plays Warhammer. He plays a faction called the Adeptus Custodes. It is a offshoot of Space Marines. They are the most elite of the elite Space Marines, and their sole job is to defend Terra, aka Earth, the home world, and they are the defenders of the Emperor.
With
Each
democracy.
one of them. Yeah, pretty much. A Space Marine is like one of the most elite units that are out there, despite them being the most widespread tabletop faction. But ignore that part. They're supposed to be like stupid elite. The average battle usually involves the Imperial Guard to some degree, or maybe the Sisters of Battle. And then every once in a while, if you're lucky, a small amount of Space Marines will come to save your ass. and really just turn the tide of battles. The Adeptus Custodes are like even more elite than those guys. And on top of that, they're all like special people in themselves. They're musicians, they're painters, they're people that like know these very fine things, and they're the cream of the cream of the cream of the cream of the crop.
Like a
And they're
samurai thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And they are famously all gold dudes in giant golden power armor, and they have a giant golden dreadnought called the Telemond. And they are on the crazy thing is that from like if you're playing a Space Marine army, you're probably gonna have like 60, 70, 80 models on the tabletop. If you're playing Imperial Guard, like a very like infantry heavy list, you can have over 200 models on the tabletop. If you're playing Adeptus Custodes, at most you're probably gonna have 25 dudes. So in game, they're statted and pointed to reflect that these guys are just like Giga Chads. These are absolute units. So that's the faction that Henry Cavill plays.
That's
Just thinking how much these cost as well. Those little figurines are not cheap,
No, they are not.
and the paint is not cheap.
It can be. It can also not be. It depends on how hard you go with it. And you can get deep into it. You can just do like basic brush in a few different colors. You can try to use painting techniques to imitate metallic material and the way that it reflects. If you want to get next level with it, you can go buy an airbrush so you can get cool gradients and fades between colors and stuff. And then it's all about how much time you want to spend on it and how much you do want to spend on it in general. So, yeah.
Fucking A,
But
bro.
I guess here's Uncle Z's recommendation for getting, if you have interest in playing or collecting and painting, the best way to get into it is you want to buy something called a combat. You want to buy something called a combat patrol. This is your little like intro box thing. And inside of it, it's going to have just a decent smattering of miniatures from your faction. How it translates to tabletop play, it's more or less good, depending on which one you go with. But they're usually a decent discount because you get the whole box and it's all together. And if you're buying Warhammer stuff, don't ever pay MSRP for Warhammer stuff. Go on Amazon, go on eBay, go find like a trade swap listing on Facebook or whatever. You can get deals out of this stuff for sure. And if you pay MSRP prices from Games Workshop, those greedy bastards who have just done their like 6th price hike in like 4 years, you can end up paying an arm and a leg. Also, the tabletop game, you play it, the way it's played at tournaments is at 2,000 points. 2,000 points is a lot. That like combat patrol box is supposed to be about 500. Also, it takes time to build and paint this stuff. So like, don't rush into it. Just find something you like, start small, and then just keep working your way with things that you like and have some sort of game plan if you want to play the full scale game, which you don't have to, by the way. You can play a 1,500, 1,000, or 500 point games. It's going to be a little different of an experience because the rules are written for 2,000, but you can still have fun with it for sure. And you can still have very good games as well.
So that's the intro. Buy the intro starter pack or a 3D printer and just print your own pieces. And
3D printing is a whole nother story. Can you 3D print this stuff? Yes. Does Games Workshop hate that you can? Yes. Are you allowed to play 3D printed things in official Warhammer tournaments? No. Do you and your buddies playing Warhammer, eating pretzels and drinking beer in the basement care? Absolutely not. And if they do, I question what kind of friends you have or how deep they are into the sunk cost fallacy.
It's like, can I use my gift cards? Nope. Can I print my own money? Can I mine my own gold? All that stuff. Well, freaking well, gentlemen, go ahead, Z.
Real quick, you're gonna hate this, but there are. That's not the only thing you need to play. First off, you're gonna need a copy of the core rulebook. This is the core rulebook that came with the one of the starter sets that I got for the edition release, and then on top of that,
for weightlifting,
it might be. Then on top of that, you're also going to need your codex. Your codex is specific to your faction, and it's going to include a bunch of cool stuff like pages about lore. But most importantly, what you want are these. These are data sheets. These tell you the specs, stats, and rules for the different units in your game that you're playing on the tabletop. Do you need these per se? No, you can go find versions of these online for free. Let me pull up a screen share here.
All right.
This is Wahapedia. This is a little website run out of some dude's basement in Russia, and he is an absolute Giga Chad and keeps all the different rules on here. available to you guys. And honestly, it does a better job of conveying the rules than pretty much any of the data sheets that are inside of the book. So if you're interested in this stuff, just go to Wahapedia. Additionally, to build your army, you do have to follow some constraints. If you want to do that, go over to a site like New Recruit. This is going to allow you to build a list of all the different stuff that you have. So like, let's look at this one. This is just Tau. You can see like this guy is 85 points. It gives you a rundown of his stuff. And then this is the actual data that you need to play the game. That kind of stuff. Outside of that, if you want to, there's tons of content about like the lore and the game, and then also people talking about the game and how to get into it. Probably one of your best places to go are these guys. This is the Warhammer podcast, where they talk about trying to get into the game, make it accessible to new folks. They did a recent video ranking all the different combat patrol boxes and whether or not they're good or bad buys. One of their most famous popular videos is called the Pain Team tier list, ranking every faction by difficulty to paint. They do a great job of letting you know what you're getting yourself into. And they also have a video for 9 tips for buying into Warhammer, how to not regret your early buys, that kind of stuff. Additionally, if you're interested in the lore and stuff, go check out Bricky. He is a streamer who does a lot of 40K content, and he's really good and he's really funny, and he does a really good job of explaining everything. If you want to actually know how to paint, check out Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy. This is the guy who actually used to be hired by Games Workshop and gave painting tutorials for a bunch of different stuff, but he left and now he has his own channel and his own company producing paints and stuff. There's plenty of other guys. I like Ninjon and Miniac. These guys paint a lot of stuff and they really teach you how to do it. They also have their own podcast called Trapped Under Plastic, which goes into a lot of that stuff as well. And then another guy I really like, Eons of Battle. If you want to learn about kit bashing, aka taking little plastic pieces and like cutting it, taking parts from other dudes, slapping it onto yours, try to maybe like reproduce a miniature that's been out of print for 15 years, but it's still used in the rules. They'll like show you how to like make that stuff and make it look good. So there's a lot of great resources out there.
Real quick, you fuck with Magic the Gathering at all?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
Oh,
Andy's
I took him off. Add to stage. There
Oh
you go.
no! Ooh. Yeah,
You're back.
my dad got me in Magic the Gathering. I haven't played in a long time, but oh no, we have to see that for another episode one of these days.
We'll have to do that
Believe me,
sometime.
I can go deep on that because I've been playing Magic since college, so 2013, and I've been playing Warhammer since about 2020.
Oh wow, my dad got me into Magic the Gathering 2007, 2008.
Nice. You were there for the good stuff then.
I haven't played in a long time. I remember when City of Brass first became off limits. If anyone knows City of Brass, when that first became like illegal to play in the actual tournaments. I remember when the runes were written for that.
Yep, there you go. A lot of old stuff. Magic. Magic is probably my primary game. Haven't touched it as much because I don't have my friends to play with as much.
Yeah.
So all the solo hobbying stuff, that's where Warhammer really filled the gap for me.
Holy smokes! I didn't know you did. Yeah, I guess you could totally do that all by yourself, just buying the miniatures and doing the painting. And
yeah, who says you have to play the game? If you just want to build and paint cool minis, Games Workshop makes some of the best little like miniature models out there outside of like Gundam. But that's an entire, I haven't touched that, but I know it's an entire other kind of thing. It's larger scale. This is more like small scale stuff you can just do for fun. And they look fantastic and they're very easy and intuitive to assemble. They've gotten very good at it. There is a reason that is a $6 billion company.
Oh man, Gundams. Oh lordy. I used to have Gundams when I was like young, like building your own Gundams and stuff.
oh man,
Yep. When I was in middle
Are we
school,
about
I was a
to-
Gundam guy.
we got to spool up another 2-hour stream, everyone. Hang on a second. We're going to talk about Gundams.
Oh, hey, let's talk about Gundam. Why was Heavy Arms cool? And why was the Death Sight Gundam so cool? And why did the main Gundam guy, I can't remember the name, with the Angel one, like the main character guy, like I watched Mobile Suit Gundam Wing growing up, so like that was my forte. Yeah, well, why did the hero Gundam always suck?
I don't know much about Gundam, but I've been trying to get into it, and I have started watching Gundam 00. I was told that was a good place to start, so I've been good on that one. It's was pretty good as
Yeah.
far as anime goes.
I grew up on Mobile Suit Gundam Wing because Toonami would just always play it, so obviously
Oh,
follow
God
suit
bless
with
Toonami.
it. Toonami, goated. I used to take
Absolutely.
the VHS tapes and put it into the VHS recorder and it would record episodes of like Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, Tenchi Muyo. That's a stack of VHS tapes. Good times.
Nice.
That's awesome. The old piracy. Yarg. I love it.
Yarg.
I'm all about it. Well, listen, gentlemen, this has been a fantastic and excellent show. Let's go ahead and spool it down here, and then I'll see you guys in the green room in a second. But before we go, where
Chat
can folks
motherfucking
find
shoutouts.
you? Oh yeah, we do have to do another thing of chat motherfucking shoutouts. Let's see. Where's my hang on. I got it.
Don't need to go find my sticker again.
No, I got it. It's right here. It's time, ladies and germs, for chat motherfucking shoutouts. It looks like we've been joined by a fantastic Texan over here, Mr. Moondog. Oh goodness, I gotta fucking. I'm losing my. I'm glad I didn't accidentally click out of the stream there. Mr. Moondog says, if anyone hits up Texas Renfest this season, I could set up a Magic the Gathering tourney on pretty short notice. Yes, absolutely. Moondog is the fucking man for Ren fairs and Magic the Gathering and other fun stuff. And Moondog is the man for many things. And on the subject of tokenizing, throw NFC chips into 3D printable models like Skylanders, then add the NFT features into a digital on-chain game as an idea. So basically turn your unique little player things as unique little blockchain things. And I don't really know how that works, but that sounds fantastic and awesome. So there you go. There you go, Fast Abdul. An idea for
Real quick. That's
tokenizing.
an idea that I really want to see happen. The only downside, we've been talking about this. It's why we talk about GameFi projects as part of crypto as well, which is that blockchain provides the opportunity to have a lot of stuff that's in game. Like if you want to have people actually own their own assets inside of a game and be able to trade it with other players, blockchain is a great choice for that because it keeps it publicly trackable. It gives ownership to the actual players and stuff. But unfortunately, I think that the overall gaming populace really dislikes crypto and they absolutely hate the idea of NFTs as well, because their understanding is like just the Bored Apes Yacht Club. It's like, oh, you buy a stupid monkey picture that's worth $1 million, and then it crashes, then it rebounds, and it crashes, and it rebounds. It's like, what's the point? It's like, no. Imagine like your in-game stuff. Like you have the ability to own and trade it. Like previously in the past, people got banned for like buying like gold on World of Warcraft or RuneScape and stuff. Imagine if you had a game that actually embraced that. That just like let you do that. Like the cool dungeon loot that you're like one of only like 100 people that ever got that loot. If you were able to actually like sell and trade it, like that would be kind of cool.
That was the stuff that broke Fallout 76 as far as I'm concerned. I remember there were people just like they were grinding for power weapons, and then they would sell them on like online forums where you would find out the person's gamer tag, invite them into your world, and then like after you paid them the money in real life, they like drop the gun in front of you, and it's congratulations. Now you have this fucking double explosive 50 caliber like portable machine gun. It's like, oh, everything in the game is stupid easy to kill now. What have I done? I've ruined the game. But like, yeah, NFTs are basically just, digitally owned assets. Like, congratulations, when you log on to Netflix and you try and stream your show, that's essentially an NFT. You have digital quote unquote ownership until Netflix kicks you out, right? That you have some sort of digital asset. Same thing for like your Google Drive. Same thing for anything else. So like, I think that the gamers they'll come around to it eventually. But as far as non-fungible tokens and one of those
as
NFC
far
chips.
as current trends go, I don't think any company is out there doing a really good job of bridging the gap. And the issue that I see is that there's a lot of stigma in the gaming community. The crazy thing is that they're hungry for good games out there. And AAA gaming is absolutely failing them right now. The downside is that you also have to produce a good game, and making good games is hard. So there's a lot of crypto-focused companies out there that are really good at crypto stuff, but they don't know how to make good games, so they're going to be unable to bridge it from that standpoint. But the market is ripe for it. I think it's just going to take someone doing something well to actually get it going. I had really high hopes for Shrapnel. It was like the first-person shooter extraction gaming that also had like blockchain involved. But unfortunately, I think that project it didn't quite hit the levels I was hoping. The gameplay isn't as polished and as good as it needed to be, and I don't think it was able to really capture a good section of the traditional gaming market to actually be that bridge to get people more interested in that stuff. So I'm still waiting for it. I think it's possible. I just think right now with the direction that crypto and gaming is going, they're going away. They're not going together, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah. I just like the idea of like, imagine you can sell the in-game stuff that you worked for. You could sell that on a theoretical, marketplace somewhere. Like, oh man, I earned these red boots of jumping extra high, so I want to sell them because I don't want them. Somebody somewhere might be interested in paying for it.
Oh, what is that game?
Roblox
CS:GO.
does it.
CS:GO.
CS:GO.
My friend had got a rare knife, and he ended up selling that rare knife for like, I don't even know, like $800 or something. It's crazy. It's crazy. Just for a little, just for a little knife.
Yeah. I mean, hey, people pay a lot of money for collectible things, so
that they do.
That is the world we live in. You're looking for something, Z? For a screen share? Okay. All right, sweet. Well, gentlemen, we've jib-jabbed for quite a while about some cars, about some Warhammer, about some all sorts of cool and fancy things. This has been a great, fantastic show. We've done some good chat shout-outs and things. Gentlemen, before we go, where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future? Mr. Zenith. What's up, bro?
I got some travel coming up here, so I'll let Will talk about book club and whatnot. But outside of that, just keeping track of the crypto markets, because we're at that critical moment, like I talked about previously. Things have not gone the way we expected them to, and I think I know I've been saying that.
Oh no, we lost him.
Oh no.
I know we've been saying that. Where did he go? There he is. He's back. He's clicking his way out.
Skiddios.
From crashed on me again. Thank you for that. Yeah. Hey, critical time in the market. I think there's a possibility we could get the extended cycle. I haven't really been believing it for the majority of this one, but now that we're here and we're looking at where we're at, what's going on with the Federal Reserve and the monetary policy, it's possible. Time is only going to tell, but it's possible. I still think that there's a lot of weight to be put into pre-existing trends, like the 4-year cycle in particular. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. But at the same time, trying to make sure I'm not missing out on what's going on here. But yeah, outside of that, folks, you can find me on Instagram and X at ZenithDI. And then I guess the final tip for anybody that wants to play Warhammer is at the start of editions, they create a launch box, which is by far the best value thing you could ever possibly get. You get 2 factions in it, you get a core rule book, and you get the newest and greatest stuff. Granted, it probably sells for like $250, but honestly, if you just want to buy one thing and be done, and then maybe some extra paints to actually paint the stuff, that's the way to do it. It's probably going to be launching sometime July of 2026, so keep an eye out for it. I definitely know I'm going to be buying 1 copy and probably 2.
Excellent. Well, there you go. So you had said the folks can find you at Zenith DI. And as far as stuff going on in the near future, I will cover book club. You have any crazy awesome streams or anything that you're looking forward to other than the cycle ending? Or well, not the cycle ending, but the cycle potentially changing and showing some new ground.
It's ever evolving. Keep on top of it. Right now, we have all the government shutdown going off. So curious to see how that affects markets. Overall, I think in general, it doesn't affect it a whole lot, but it will be delaying any potential ETFs that the SEC has been trying to approve. So until the government reopens, that stuff's on hold. So there's lots of stuff coming down the pike. It's just a question of when it happens, what impact it has. But outside of that, I'm just keeping my eyes on largely Bitcoin, trying to see the cycle top. Keeping my eye on Ethereum because there's an arms race going on with people trying to buy up supply, and also all the altcoins all together. There's a lot of stuff that I want to see perform well because I think it has good fundamentals, and I'm hoping that it does.
All righty, excellent. Mr. Josh, is there anything that you want to shout out before we go? Give the folks your socials if you're interested in them following you or anything that you're looking forward to in the near future.
If you want to follow me on Instagram, slide180 right there. It's also my YouTube. If you like black metal, like heavy metal stuff, My band is called Norden or Norgen, Nordjn. Will already knows what's up.
Yep. I'm gonna
Nice.
pull it out for the folks at home.
As he pulls out the merch above his head, conveniently enough. So if you like black metal, very fast streaming stuff, that's what I do on the side. Besides that, my Instagram is all car pictures. So I do a lot of drift stuff, car pictures, stuff like that. Nothing crazy like that. So, but
Excellent.
hopefully everything keeps going up. Hopefully
Yep.
Bitcoin rises up and breaks a new all-time high, and hopefully it proves me wrong because I sold my Bitcoin for beer money. So hopefully I get proven wrong.
Well, there you go. Well, who knows? It might drop down a little bit more. It might go up some, but you did an excellent little trade. So what you're doing, we would call in the cryptosphere, we call it not quite day trading, but like short-term trading, where you buy it and then you sell it shortly thereafter. And for those of you guys that don't know, he's said it a couple times on maybe on last stream or something like that, but like Josh has just been doing nothing but absolute wins on all his trades. So it's that fantastic newcomer's luck or newcomer's skill that be careful, bro, because that tends to lead to the bigger gamblings and things. So as long as you have,
I mean, it's just like stock trading. It's like I'm not really new to the whole thing, but like crypto is a little bit of a different beast. I mean, not really, but kind of sort of. It's just like crypto's more. You can't predict what's going to come next.
Yeah.
When it comes to stocks, you can kind of predict what's going to come next. With crypto, it's like, hey, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Yep. It's definitely a doozy, that's for sure. All right, excellent. So that's where you can find Josh. As far as me, you guys can find all of my socials off of will.pls.fyi. That's where everything is kept. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that crap. Go check it out over there if you want to see what I'm doing in the near future. As far as what we've got going on for DGen Roundtable, Zenith mentioned Friday. We're not doing book club this Friday. This is going to be a longer work day for me on Thursday, and Z will be traveling on Friday. So we're going to be pushing the 48 Laws of Power to the following week for book club. So stick around if you guys want to catch 48 Laws of Power. We'll be doing that next Friday on October the... Oh man, my calendar's not pulling up. Well, I'm just gonna guess October we'll say 21st or something like that. I have no idea, but that's when the next book club will be.
But when's the next show for y'all? The DGen Roundtable.
Yep, the next DGen Roundtable show will be this Sunday. So we won't be here on Friday, but we will be here on Sunday. If you guys take a look underneath Josh, it has our stream times over. Oh, I gotta point this way. Over there. We are live every 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Not this Friday. Actually, no, I might just pop on for like 5 or 10 minutes to say hello, everybody. Goodbye, everybody. Who knows? I'm leaving my options open. I'm not saying that we're gonna have a show, but it would probably be good for the YouTube algorithm just to pop on for a quick second and say what's up, everybody, and then get the fuck out. So that's what we got going on. I might end up hosting the FN Hangout again this Friday. We'll see what RG3 and Wild SJ are doing as far as their those little LCD screen giveaway, or not giveaways, mailing stuff. They're pretty busy with that, so I might end up running the FN Hangout. And other than that, that's what I've got going on. That's what the DGen Roundtable has going on. If you guys are anywhere near Detroit, Michigan, I'm going to be here for about a week or two, and I would love to come hang out. That's about all I've got. And now it's time to read the end of show copywriting. I want to thank you all for spending your valuable time with us here on the DGen Roundtable. As Agent J often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you spending it right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Will Stevenson, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. I'm the producer, so I got to get my trigger finger ready because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly.